but this ain't a game to him. You could be a Bradley's baddie too. You could be a Bradley's baddie too. So join Jovan and get your critical cap on. 'Cause there's a Bradley's baddie inside of me and you.
Good morning, Krusty Crew. How we doing? Are we killing? Are we cooling? Are we chilling? Everybody, welcome to stream today. Welcome in, welcome in. It is Monday, November 24th, 10:59. Oh, I was like almost right on the dot at 11 o'clock. How are you all doing today? My name is Jovan Bradley. I'm a leftist who chills and does debate stuff, here to debate with the chuds. First of all, let's give our shout outs to the first in Twitch chat today. That was Ferocity, King Puff, and Spoonser B3. Thank you guys for being the first people in claiming that first prize over on the Twitch chat. Babs, thank you for resubscribing for 30 months of tier 1 on Twitch. 45th month of subscription. Yemye, thank you for gifting 5 subs to the Twitch chat. Thank you guys so much. Now, to go over our little housekeeping, we do housekeeping at the beginning of our stream because we just got to get some housekeeping out of the way and done. First and foremost, I did... Oh, Mr. Pipe Dream, thank you for the 6 gifted subs. Came in and one-upped Yemye. That is the way we love to see it. Thank you. We are chilling. We are doing the damn thing today. Tomorrow's stream is probably going to get moved because I start moving tomorrow. I have to go wait for the internet people at my new place. Ginger a la mode, thank you for gifting 5 subs to the Twitch chat. And Scrampy, thank you for resubscribing for 2 months of tier 1. So tomorrow's stream, we might push that. But we're here today to debate with MAGA and tell MAGA, hey MAGA, you kind of dumb, bro. Hey MAGA, you kind of stupid. That's gonna be the that I think is gonna be our motto. We're gonna be like, hey MAGA, you kind of stupid. I need to get a bunch of wait, that almost came out wrong. I was gonna say I need to get a bunch of kids to record that because I think it'd be funnier coming out of the mouths of kids. But I just think I need to get a bunch of kids. Probably doesn't sound the best. Anyway, welcome in. Hopefully with the new internet, I'll be able to stream for you guys more at better times. I want to stream at like 11 or 10 a.m. I can stream in the evening. I can stream on multiple platforms, not just YouTube and Twitch. I can vertical and horizontal stream to YouTube at the same time. All of these things will come because I'll have better internet. So, better internet. Here are our topics for today. Today's topics, as always, there's no good reason to still be MAGA. At this point, either you're politically illiterate or you're stupid. And I hope it's the first one. There's no reason to believe in Jesus magic. There is none. Guys, the Bible isn't real. Bible ain't real, bro. It's not real. It's not real. Sorry, the Bible mysticism isn't real, and if you think it is, you can call in. Let me go open up the call-in lines right now. You can call in if you think Bible Jesus magic is true, but Bible Jesus magic, it's not true, guys. It's not true. So here we go. Let me connect to the stream.
You are connected as the host. Welcome, host.
Totally
you
forgot to
are now
connect
in the
to
host
that.
room and can manage your callers from the call-in studio web interface.
Thank you. Number 3, there's no reason to be against leftism. Leftism is just a critique of capitalism, and there's no reason to not have a critique on capitalism, guys. Dan Haley, thank you for the super chat. I do read the super chats all at the end of stream, so thank you for that so much. At the end of stream, we'll be reading those super chats. Oh damn. C Schwain line. I don't know. Thank you for the 10 gifted subs over on Twitch. Sorry, I said that so poorly. Nightlight Plushie, thank you for the 1 gifted sub. And Alexa Vanis, thank you for the bits. Anyway, as I was saying, yeah, no reason to believe in Jesus magic. None whatsoever. Don't do it. Number 4, no reason to be against leftism. It's always good to critique capitalism in every sense. It's always good to critique any system that you're under. a lack of critique of a system is just weird to me. It's just indoctrination. Number 4, trans men and women are men and women. They are 100% of the time. Not 20% of the time, not 90% of the time, 100% of the time. Number 5, there are no good reasons to make abortion illegal. Abortion should always remain legal. Otherwise it just harms people who are able to get pregnant. And we don't fuck with that over on this side of the aisle. Vampirus Alley, thank you for resubscribing for 6 months to tier 1. Silly Joss, thank you for 5 bits. Vemlixia, thank you for 2 bits. Amazingly, thank you for 100 bits. Now, guys, hold on. I just want to throw this out there again. Because I am moving and my moving costs are mounting, please consider, if you want to support the stream today, the best way to do so is Cash App and Venmo. Every little dollar does go towards my move right now. If it works out, I'll be streaming from my new office tomorrow. Like I'll get a U-Haul tomorrow, move my desk, and Wednesday we will have, it'll be super, like you won't have any of the background stuff yet. Well, maybe you could. Like I would just move Wednesday stream to Wednesday evening and it would be goated. There are no more headphones. Both the headphones have been claimed, but I mean, I can try to figure out other stuff to auction off for you guys if you want, if there's more stuff of mine you want. Fucking, I don't really know. I have an old, here's what I'm thinking. My Switch 1 is going unused. I could always gift my Switch 1 to the top donor of the day. If we reach a certain amount of donos, like give the top donor my Nintendo Switch. My Switch 1 hasn't been touched since I got my Switch 2. So those are the topics on the board. If there's any MAGA that thinks they can debate any of those. Coffee Mom, thank you so much for subscribing, becoming a member at tier 2. Thank you so much. Someone else paid for this. I take no credit. Still, they're gonna thank you anyway. Barbara Barrett, thank you so much for becoming a tier 1 member over on YouTube. Call in if you disagree. Listen, here's what I'm gonna say. Tonight, we have a really great surprise stream, not surprise, but we have a really great episode of the Weekly Dump happening tonight. Really great episode of the Weekly Dump. It's a leftist discussion show, so be prepared for that. That's gonna be fucking awesome tonight. Boom, 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 Weekly Dump, okay? That's gonna happen tonight. Amelia, thank you so much for the $20 Cash App. Amelia, you are a wonderful person. Thank you for supporting the show. Thank you for supporting me and helping us to maintain our leftist education. So tonight, 6 p.m., we're gonna have a leftist discussion over on Red Mirror Media. So Weekly Dump, you can watch it on Red Mirror Media's page. That's where you'll get to watch it tonight. Red Mirror Media on YouTube. The event is already there, so you should see the event. You should be able to click it. It'll also be simul-streamed to the vertical will be simul-streamed to my page, so you can watch both the vertical and the horizontal. What else? Donations are always appreciated. They're never required. I don't want anyone to ever think they need to donate. There's a reason why every piece of my content always ends up free. Even if it doesn't start free, it will always end free, right? Because I don't want to block anything. There are a couple of members only videos, like one, I'm going to do better at it where I put out one members only debate a month. That'll be for tier 2 and up. But essentially, you know, Marissa, thank you so much for the Venmo. Thank you so much, Marissa, for supporting the show. Thank you for supporting a fat black socialist who wants to continue to educate people. If you also want to support, that's how you can do it. But remember, always appreciated, never required. I hope everybody's having a good day today. I got a little bit of energy, so hopefully we can get some good debates cooking. If you disagree with me, call that number, MAGA. Don't be scared. 219-327-8005. Don't be scared, MAGA. 219-327-8005. We have, you know what? I am going to link record to this, but I feel like I want to link record to this button. So wait, I need to go to Stream Deck XL, take this, copy this, go to pedal, paste that there. Let's see if this works. Doesn't work. Okay, well, I tried. We're going to bring up our first caller of the day. First up, we have Rusty. Now, Rusty wants to tell us that trans men and women are not men and women because of science and logic. We'll see if Rusty's actually able to back this up with some sort of logical claim, and we'll find out. Rusty, if you can hear me, please provide me your age and pronouns.
He, him. I am 26.
26 and he, him. Now, Rusty, you don't believe trans men and women are men and women. You said that's because of science and logic. So I'd love to know what scientific evidence you have to show me that trans men and women are not men and women.
Well, I'm not making the claim that trans women are women. I'm not making the claim that trans men are men.
Sure, but you are making a claim that science and logic disagrees with it. So what is that? What is your evidence that science and logic do disagree with that claim?
Let's just start with let's get a ground. Let's get a basis. What is a woman, right? And what is a man, right? If you can tell me what's a man, and what's a woman, then we can go from there and actually get into the logic of it, and then we can get into science behind it.
Yep, I would define a man as an adult human whose gender identity aligns with their social schema on the male sex, and I would define a woman as an adult human whose gender identity aligns with their social schema on the female sex.
Okay, so what are these social schemas that dictate a man or a woman, or what is more of a man and what is more of a woman, right?
I could only tell you what my schema on those things are. I can't tell you what somebody else's schema for that is. Schemas are personal. They're personal frameworks that your brain makes to classify information. So I can't tell you what somebody's schema on female would be. Only that person could tell you.
Is there a societal schema that we can kind of base this on?
Societies can create schemas collectively, but they don't tend to hold because every person's going to be categorizing stuff differently. But no, there wouldn't be the societal thing that we would hold to is having that gender identity and schema alignment. That would be the society thing we hold to. But schemas are mostly personal. They're how your brain subconsciously classifies information.
Right. So with the previous basis of man and woman, right, up until just recently within the last 20 to 30 years, the previous basis of a man being an adult human male or a woman being an adult human female, how did we come to changing that into a schema or basically a feeling of whether
I think gender just naturally through human social evolution has changed. I think it's very clear that we don't operate using gender in a way to just mean the sexes. It's very clear the way we engage with gender as people that has long since not really been a thing. I also think the definition typically used adult human male or adult human female is very lacking in my opinion, and it's going to exclude a lot of people who should be considered men and women, even cisgender people that should be considered men and women.
How would that exclude people?
Because there are going to be people that would not meet the definition of female that most people give under that definition, and so it would exclude them.
So an adult human female.
Yeah, how would you define female?
XY chromosomes, right?
I'm sorry, say that again.
XY chromosome. All right.
Try it one more time.
Sorry, I think I'm cutting out. Hold on.
No. I hear you. You're not saying it. You're not saying the correct chromosome pairing for female.
X chromosome.
There you go.
Sorry, my bad.
Yeah. So if you were to define female by saying it's a sexual being or a being who reproduces who possesses X chromosomes, this definition would leave out a lot of females. There are females who have XY chromosome pairings. There are females with XO chromosomes. There's XXX chromosomes. There's a lot of there's more than 2 chromosome pairings in human development. The other people it would leave out, or it would include, would be males. There's a thing called XX male syndrome, which is where the SRY gene expresses itself on the second X chromosome, thus creating people who would develop male sexual features. And a lot of those there are people who have that who they go, I'm a male, or identify as a man, and it would include those into that category. So I think chromosomes are just an incomplete way to use that. Chromosomes are an incomplete way to categorize people by gender, whereas my categorization of gender in the definition I provided you is a more complete way to categorize that people and wouldn't exclude anybody.
I mean, so here's the thing though, is like, do we change the way our society works and how we use our language to basically cater to a small group of people?
Yes, we do this all the time. Yes. Yeah, we literally do this constantly.
Yeah. How so?
We have wheelchair ramps. We have buildings are no, yes it is. Buildings are legally required. Public facing buildings are legally required to meet ADA compliance. That is catering to a small minority of people because we recognize that by benefiting them, it benefits the rest of us. We do this all the time. It helps us as a society. There's a specific word for it too. What is benefits everyone. It's called specifically the curb cut effect. So the curb cut effect specifically talks about how when you do something that benefits a small group, you're going to see a ripple effect that's going to benefit everybody else in turn. It benefits the entire society by helping out even just a small minority of society.
All right. I don't have a whole lot to argue on that.
Well, do you agree with my definition of woman? And do you agree that trans women are women and trans men are men?
See, I don't mind, I'm on the fence about it. I'm really on the fence about it.
Okay, what's stopping you? Because remember, what you told the screener was that there was science and logic to back up, to go against my side. So what is I would love to get in if you have something that if you have the defeater in the argument, would love to know.
So I'm just looking at this mainly logically, not really much around science. Because I just can't wrap my head around so I'm a man, right? I'm assuming you're also a man, right?
Yep.
I'm not a woman. I can't imagine what it would be like to be a woman.
I can't either.
Yeah, because there's just no way.
Now think about this though, right? You just know you're a man and you can't even for a second imagine what being a woman would feel like. Same with me. Now take a trans man who just knows they're a man and can't imagine what being a woman is like, even if they may happen to be female. They would have that same feeling that you have. That same feeling you have and I have, where we just know we're men and we know that there are some things that if somebody were to call me she, her every day of my life for 32 years, that would probably eat at me because I know that that's not who I am. Or if somebody was forcing me to wear clothes that I don't feel comfortable in because they want me to be a woman, that would make me feel bad. I would feel like shit.
They've got a delusion, if you were, right? So
no. So a delusion would mean no. A delusion would mean that they have a belief that's not based in reality. No,
right? If I knew.
Hold on, Rusty. You're losing the good faith you came in here with. You're Rusty. You are Rusty.
No, I'm a dog.
Rusty. This is a terrible argument, and you're losing the good faith that you came in here with. I'm just letting you know that. This is not a logical argument you're presenting in the slightest. In order for something to be a delusion, it would have to have no basis in reality. But I've already talked to you about not only the psychological reason for us feeling the way we do, which is based around our schemas, which is brain classification, which would be a psychological and scientific basis for the gender beliefs that people have. But we've also gone over how you don't have any scientific way to prove them wrong. So in order for it to not be based in reality, you'd have to have some scientific argument against trans people. So you're just making this claim that they might be experiencing a delusion with nothing to back that up. So we don't do that. We don't make claims with no evidence, Rusty.
Well, here, let's get into gender dysphoria, right?
Okay, can you tell me what
why
gender
is
dysphoria is before we talk about it?
So, gender dysphoria. Let me just get a definition. Let me pull up a definition so we can both be on. Is the distress a person feels when their gender identity does not match the sex they are assigned at birth.
Correct. It is just gender dysphoria, quite literally, is just I feel a trans person would feel stressed out because their phenotypic representation of their sex does not align with their gender identity. That's it. It's just stress. Now, it's an extreme amount of stress, especially the diagnosis of gender dysphoria, but cisgender men and cisgender women, they also feel gender dysphoria. Happens all the time. Gender dysphoria is not specific to trans people. Anytime some phenotypic expression of your sex doesn't align with your gender identity, you're going to experience some level of gender dysphoria.
Right. So gender dysphoria is a form of body dysmorphia, right?
No, it is not. Body dysmorphia is vastly different from dysphoria. Dysphoria is stress. Dysmorphia is literally your brain telling you things about your body that are untrue. A really great way to separate is people with body dysmorphia will oftentimes see themselves in the mirror differently than how they actually appear. That doesn't happen with trans people.
So, like,
people with gender dysphoria.
In the mirror and I see myself as a man when I'm a
incorrect.
woman.
So wait, stop. Because see, now this is what you're doing, Rusty. This is what you're doing. You're waiting to argue the script that you have instead of listening to the points. You're almost there, and I want you to listen to the points here, okay? When a trans person looks in the mirror, they're not looking in the mirror and then thinking, I'm a man, right? You and me don't have to look in a mirror to think we're men. We just feel like men. It's a feeling. It's not about how you see yourself. It's an innate sense of self. It's just your brain knows what you are. It's an identity. Your brain has this innate sense of self. And for us, me and you, it's man. Same for a trans man. Now, when they look in the mirror, they see their body exactly the way it is, but they have stress because they don't like what they see, right? Oftentimes, they won't like it. A person with body dysmorphia they literally will sometimes see something different. So that's why you have some people who lose all of this weight, but when they look in the mirror, they still see fat. They still see themselves as fat. I hate to use it as an example, but watch the American Dad episode where Stan literally gets body dysmorphia and anorexia. I think it's like an actual really good representation of that disease. That's vastly different from gender dysphoria. Gender dysphoria is just a stress because a great example, I'm an actor. I've acted in numerous productions on stage. One of my roles was playing a woman. And I did it. I'm an actor, so I did it. It was not that big a deal. But when I had on the full beat of makeup, the dress, the wig, and whatever, I felt uncomfortable. I felt stressed about it. I did it because it was my job, but I felt stressed about it because that's not who I am. I experienced a level of dysphoria. It is nowhere near the level that trans people may experience, right? Because mine, I know I could just take it off and I'm back to, but like I had to shave my face. That gave me a small, like I felt weird having a shaved face. I didn't feel like me. I didn't feel like a man. That's a small level of dysphoria. Now, when we talk about trans people, it is just they have a very large amount of stress that comes with their body existing in its phenotypic expression of whatever their sex is, because in their not in their mind, but their brain is telling them your gender identity is woman, for example. And when they see women, right, the large portion of women that you see will have a lot of phenotypic traits that they share and that are in common. So when they when they are not also sharing those phenotypic traits, they can feel a level of dysphoria. That's why when trans people go through gender affirming medical care, oftentimes they will report levels of gender euphoria, and they will not be able to be diagnosed with dysphoria anymore because now they don't have that stress between their phenotypic representation of their sex and their gender identity.
Okay. I'm actually getting something from this, so I actually kind of appreciate it. So I was under the impression that gender dysphoria was a lot like a body dysmorphia, right?
No, otherwise it would be called gender dysmorphia. Dysmorphia and dysphoria are the classifications.
So I'm kind of seeing where it's at, but I still
So
I'm still stuck.
here,
You know what I mean?
just to make sure you get off of this, like, right? You know how like you like body dysmorphia is not the only dysmorphia. There's muscle dysmorphia, skin dysmorphia, facial dysmorphia.
Oh, yeah.
Same with dysphorias. There's other types of dysphoria. So those are just classifications, and dysmorphia tends to alter the way you see yourself, whereas dysphoria is just the stress. So another thing to keep in mind, when trans people tell you, hey, I feel like I'm in the wrong body, that's not because they actually think they're in a wrong, they actually were born in a body that's not theirs. It is just a way for cisgender people like me and you to understand how dysphoria feels.
Right.
That's it. It's just a phrase to make us understand these things.
Okay. So, all right. Can we get a common consensus though? Right. I wonder. I want to see how you feel about this one. Should we be transitioning children?
What do you mean by transitioning? Because transitioning is a broad umbrella term that relates to hundreds upon hundreds of different things a person can do.
So I'm just saying, like, medical interventions as far as like puberty blockers and surgeries, right?
Well, puberty blockers can only work on people who are or just starting puberty. So yes, if puberty blockers need to, like, they can't be used on anybody else unless you're using it to stop like somebody whose hormones are going crazy. But when I sorry, go ahead.
Like in cases like transitioning, like if we have a child with gender dysphoria, right? Should we go through medical interventions to either halt their puberty and transition them, or should we let them grow up a bit, right? See if it's just a phase, see if it's something that
all of the evidence we have in academia tells us, one, most likely not going to be a phase, because the regret rate is astronomically low. When we look at studies on the regret rate, and I can pull up some specific ones for you if you want, but they sit anywhere between like 1% on the low end and 3% on the high end, if we're being conservative about it, right? Maybe 3%, but even that is like, so no, I think most of these people are not, and I'll pull up actual studies for you so you can reference them. Most of the people who are going through these, even on a most of these people go through this even at a young age. They're not detransitioning, and they're not regretting their transition. Now, when I look at medical intervention for children when it comes to gender dysphoria, I look at a few things. One, I look at what the consensus in academia is telling me, and that's going to be from doctors, psychologists, endocrinologists, counselors, things like that. And the evidence that they're telling me is yes, this is a beneficial way for us to combat gender dysphoria. I then look at, okay, now let's look at the safety and efficacy of the treatment. And when I look at the safety and efficacy of the treatment, I show that it is a safe and ethical way to do this. And then I look at, okay, now let me think about if I was a parent of a child who had this. If I was a parent of a child who was gender dysphoric, and to an extreme degree to where they were getting comorbidities like depression, anxiety, and other mental health issues, if they were had suicide thoughts or were experiencing suicidality, and if they were experiencing self-harm or contemplating self-harm. Well, I would say, okay, I now have to make a decision. I have to make a risk-benefit decision. I have to look at my child, I have to look at the treatment, and I have to say, does the risk of this treatment outweigh the benefit of this treatment? And I would probably come to the conclusion every time that the benefit of my living child outweighs whatever the risks are, 100% of the time. Now, that's not to say every single trans kid who goes through gender affirming care is suicidal. Some parents are very accepting, and their kids don't have much of a hurdle to getting the care, except for like insurance hurdles that all people have because insurance sucks. But I know from looking at the research that it helps. And some of that research that I can give you here now when we're looking at studies is going to be Cornell. Cornell did a massive meta-analysis. They took 55 studies, right? They looked at all of these studies, and 51% of them showed that transitioning had a positive effect on mental health 4 studies show that there were mixed to no results. So they were like, we see a mixed bag here, or it's just washing out. And then 0 of those studies showed any negative results whatsoever. This is just one of many. And this one you can look up. It's called, it's from Cornell. It's called What Does the Scholarly Research Say About the Well-Being of Transgender People? Again, 55 studies in that meta-analysis that they link to. You can look at all of them. We have peer-reviewed. Oh, go ahead.
I just looked at 3 different studies. It's showing about a 1% regret rate for give or take 1%.
Exactly. Now, knowing that there are people that do regret their transition, they do exist. My way to combat this is to make education on gender, on transitioning more easily available. Make it so that people are not just getting their information from online sources. Make sure they have access to mental health counseling, to gender counseling, to all of these things, so that they know, they're not just going, well, I'm trans because all my friends said I must be trans. Some people who feel like they are trans may end up not needing gender affirming care medically. Social transition may be enough for them. There's a litany of factors, but the way that we don't combat it is by just removing gender affirming care for these people. That's not an effective way to combat it. And all we're going to see from that is a rise in those comorbidities that I talked about earlier.
All right.
So, Rusty, do you agree now that trans men and women are men and women?
Again, that's a hard hurdle for me to get over there. But you've educated me a lot. I've got a lot to think about. I've got a lot to think on, and I do appreciate you talking to me, man. I appreciate it.
All right. Well, Rusty, when I post this video, I say go back and watch it. And hopefully when you go back and watch it, you can, break out of that last little hurdle that you have and move forward on gender acceptance.
All righty, man. You have a good day.
You too. I think I did pretty good on that one. Shit, I was muted that whole time. Golly, I hit the button with my foot. Muted that whole time. Wow, that's embarrassing. Anyway, hopefully you guys enjoyed that call. If you think I did well on that call, you can consider tipping. Obviously, Cash App and Venmo are there. If you're like, damn, Jovan, you did well. I want to support you because you are throwing out great education stuff. Well, Cash App and Venmo are there. Consider tipping. It's always appreciated, never required. Thank you to Rain the Mancer for resubscribing for 6 months at tier 1 over on Twitch. God bless you. Ludaphil, thank you for subscribing with your Amazon Prime over on Twitch. And Idzit, thank you for subscribing with your Amazon Prime over on Twitch. Remember, do I have PayPal? Yes, I do have PayPal. If you're on Twitch and you look in my About Me, there's a donate section. Click on that and you can do PayPal tips. Remember, if you have an Amazon Prime, you can use your 1 free Prime sub on Twitch. You get 1 free a month. You could consider using it for me over on Twitch. It's a great way to support the stream if you want to support the stream. Now, hopefully Rusty will come to the realization after watching that video back that trans men and women are indeed men and women. Hopefully I provided him enough information. If you think something that I said to Rusty was wrong, or if you think, damn, Jovan, that's not true, and you want to debate me on it, please feel free to call in. If you're trying to call in just to ask questions and whatnot, we aren't doing office hours right now. Now that I have my new internet, office hours will become an evening stream thing. So I'll let you guys know. I'll schedule a lot more office hours since I'll be able to stream in the evening. Aaron Bryan, thank you for the jewels over on YouTube. Thank you so much. Now, where are the MAGA at today, guys? Are MAGA scared? Let's run a poll. Are MAGA scared to debate Jovan? Yes or no? I'm getting fiber. I'm getting a 5 gig plan, 5 gigs up, 5 gigs down. Just so you know, right now I get 40 megs down max. So I'm moving from a 40 meg down to a 60 meg, or a 5 gig meg, or 40, up. 40 meg up to a 5 gig up. So we gonna be streaming, baby. Hey, no problem. If you only have Zelle, then don't worry about it. You don't got a tip at all. If you do go to my Twitch page though, and you go to the donation stream, you can just donate like with a card for anybody that wants to. You don't have to. Remember, donations are never required. My content is still gonna be out here and be free for you guys. I'm not finna make this content pay to win. That's not what I'm doing out up in this piece. I don't live my life like that, bro. That's not how I roll, dog. What the fuck? Anyway, why are MAGA so scared to debate? It's almost like they know, right? It's almost like secretly they know. Althea, thank you so much for the $5 PayPal. Thank you, friend. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Thank you for supporting the stream. It is appreciated. Do we think MAGA are little crybaby, scaredy panty, poo pants? The fuck am I saying? Anyway, if you want to debate, feel free to call in. Get yourself on that call-in line. Get up in this piece. Tell me why I'm wrong. Now, if you're like Rusty and you recognize, oh shit, Jovan's logic is actually rock fucking solid, then you might have to let go of that anti-trans rhetoric, dog. Rents, thank you for resubscribing with your Amazon Prime over on Twitch. And Raging Butterfly, thank you for resubscribing to Amazon Prime over on Twitch. Thank you so much. Ask them how they feel about MTG. We're going to be talking about Marjorie Taylor Greene tonight on the Weekly Dump, 6 p.m. here on my channel and Red Mirror Media's channel. We're going to be talking about Marjorie Taylor Greene's resignation, as well as Donald Trump and Zoran Mamdani's weird little kerfluffle. We'll be talking about that as well over on the stream. We have our next guest ready to come up onto the show. Everybody say hello. We have Brent coming up to talk. Now, Brent says there is a reason to be pro-MAGA. So let's pull Brent up. Oop, I muted myself. We're going to pull Brent up, see what those reasons are. Brent, if you can hear me, please provide me with your age and pronouns, please.
I am 28 and he, him.
Okay, now Brent, you are MAGA, and you said there's still reasons to be MAGA. What are those reasons, Brent?
The number one reason that comes to my mind is protection of the Second Amendment.
Protection of the Second Amendment. Okay, and you think that that Second Amendment would not be protected if you were voting for Democrats instead of voting for MAGA Republicans?
Yeah, I think it would be less protected.
Okay. Can you point me to any specific policies or laws that the Democrats have attempted to push in that would limit your Second Amendment rights?
Some that have actually been passed through. We have the Brady bill that has been passed through. The NFA has been passed through. The GPA has been passed through, just to name three of the big ones.
Okay. So the Brady bill, the NFA, and the GFA.
The GPA, the Gun Owners Protection Act.
Okay. Let's take a look at all of those to see. Okay, so the Brady bill was in 1993. I'm asking what current bills are being pushed by the Democrats. So the Brady bill was 1993.
A lot of current ones that are actively being pursued is banning common firearms such as the AR-15 or other semi-automatic platforms.
Okay, what bill currently is pushing for the ban of AR-15s?
I'm not sure of the exact bill, but several states, such as California, New York, and New Jersey, all are actively trying to ban those type of weapons and standard capacity magazines as well. Or they have recently passed those bans.
Okay, so the states have banned these guns, is what you're saying.
Yes, a lot of the states that are ran by Democratic parties are banning these firearms and standard capacity magazines. They're also banning accessories to the firearms.
Okay. Now, do you believe that gun ownership should be regulated at all, or should it be an unregulated right?
I think that the regulation we should have isn't regulating what people can own. It's regulating that we get good, high-quality firearms, ammunition, and other accessories.
Okay, so you believe that somebody should be able to own whatever type of ammunition they wish to own with no restrictions?
That's correct. With very few restrictions.
Okay, what would those restrictions look like?
If you are diagnosed with a mental illness, where, such as schizophrenia, you should not be able to own a firearm. And if you are actively under the influence of drugs or alcohol, you should not be around firearms.
Okay. So I'm just writing this down. So a mental illness diagnosis, that would be where you can be restricted, and actively under the influence of drugs and alcohol would be where you can have. So anybody else, though, that doesn't fit those criteria should be able to own any type of gun they want, zero restrictions on the type of gun or the type of firearm and ammunition. Is this correct?
Yes.
Okay. You believe that the average individual citizen in the United States should be able to own, for instance, like a rocket launcher or an RPG?
Yes.
Okay. You think they should be able to own, if they had the money for it, like bombs, like C4, things like that?
Yes.
Okay. You don't think that there would be an issue, or an extreme safety issue when it comes to the average citizen owning these exorbitant weapons, these high capacity weapons, things like that?
No, I don't.
No, you don't. Why not? Why wouldn't there be an issue with somebody owning, for instance, an RPG or a bomb?
So I just want to make something known. Fully automatic weapons are not illegal. They're regulated. Most people
we're talking about regulation, yes.
Most people that own a legal full auto, the most dangerous thing they are against is trash on the gun range, because it's just fun to shoot. 99% of gun owners are safe, responsible, and legal. They pose no risk to any innocent person, and most of what they do is either hunt or shoot for sport.
Okay, so because most people won't do this thing, we shouldn't outlaw this thing.
Correct.
Okay, most people don't murder. Should murder still be illegal?
Murder is illegal.
Yes, but most people don't murder.
But,
so why are we outlawing
right.
it if most people don't do it?
So that way we can punish the people who committed it. I'm not saying get rid of a charge like murder, but if you bought a full auto,
I'm just asking to test the logic on that and the claim that you made.
Right. So the logic behind it is, let's say you went out and bought a full auto machine gun and you kept it in your house, you didn't do anything with it. You're not breaking any law. But if, Joe Blow goes and buys one and he kills a bunch of people, well, now he's getting charged with the murder.
Sure.
Why should the fact that one person may go out and do something bad limit what you're able to do?
Okay. Should we make drugs legal? Like, should the ownership
on the type of drug?
Why shouldn't the ownership, should the ownership of drug be legal? Like, if I'm not going to use it, can't I just own those drugs? Why couldn't I own a garage full of cocaine if I don't smoke the cocaine? Just because somebody's going to smoke those drugs and do something bad with that drugs, why does that mean I shouldn't be able to own those drugs?
Because when it comes to something like drugs, let's say you own a pound of cocaine.
Mm-hmm.
there is not really any logical reason that you can give for owning a pound of cocaine that does not involve you using it or someone else using it.
What if I just
Whereas when it
like
comes
to look at it?
firearms, but
What if I want to
that's not really
display
a
it? What if I
logical
want to? What's illogical about wanting to own something just to look at it? I own decorations in my house just to look at.
How are you using it though?
I like to walk into my garage and look at the cocaine.
All right, if that's the case and you're not using it and someone else isn't using it, then yes, you should be able to own whatever you want.
So we should make ownership of drugs legal.
Depending on what the person is using it for, yes.
Well, how do we determine what the person's using it for?
Based on how they use it.
We wouldn't know how they use it until they do use it that way.
Right. So if, let's say you are purchasing it because you want to look at it. 5 months
So then we
later,
should make-
find out that
So we should make the purchase of drugs legal. Like it should be legally okay to purchase drugs.
yes, and most states have already started doing that.
Well, all drugs, right? So you agree with me? All drugs should be legally. You should be able to purchase.
Yeah, I mean, if you're trying to get the analogy of drugs and firearms to get together, then
No,
I'm
the
gonna
analogy
stand by
is
my
the
point.
analogy is, and I'll explain the logic that I'm walking through here. The reason why we make some guns legal, some guns illegal, we make the burden of ownership a little tougher, is because we recognize that even if it's a small amount of people, some people will get more hurt with these weapons, right? These weapons will cause more damage or harm more people than, say, a pistol could, or a shotgun could, or a hunting rifle could, right? If we're looking at semi-automatic weapons or automatic weapons, for example, they can shoot faster, they can kill more people. Now, I have no issue with the ownership of guns. Most leftists don't. Even most Democrats in Congress don't, right? They don't want to ban on guns, but they do want to put restrictions on the type of guns. I think that's sensible. I think you can say, hey, I want to be able to shoot these guns for sport. I think that's fine. If you want to own a gun to shoot for sport, you should just leave it at a neutral third location. Like there should be gun ranges should have gun lockers for the people there that want to own these specific guns, and whenever they want to go shoot them for sport, they can go shoot them for sport. They might even be able to go check them out.
The issue with that is a lot of people think the Second Amendment is about shooting for sport or hunting, but that's not what it was originally written for. It was originally written in case a tyrannical government, foreign or domestic, tries to invade or conquer the American people. Because the people who wrote it just got done fighting a tyrannical government, and they knew the day may come again. There are several times where the fact that Americans are able to own military-grade weaponry at the time have prevented invasions and battles.
So at the time of the Second Amendment's writing, when they say a well-regulated militia at the time meant a group of able-bodied men that were called upon by the government. It wasn't about a group of people to combat. No, hold on. It wasn't about a group of people made to combat a tyrannical government. It was about a group of people the state would call on to help fight for them. That's what militia meant.
Yes, and well-regulated meant trained. That's all that it meant. But if you notice, there's a comma which breaks the sentence and starts,
wait.
The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed.
Okay, great. Does that mean we can't place restrictions? I don't think a restriction, you're still able to keep and bear arms. You haven't lost that ability.
Right. I haven't lost the ability to keep and bear arms. However, we can both agree that the Second Amendment was written in case we had to fight our own government or another foreign military.
It was not written in case. Nope. It was not written in case we had to fight our own government. Militia, as defined in the Constitution, was about a group of people that the government called in to fight for them, not a group of people fighting against them. The Founding Fathers did not write that amendment so that people could rise up against them if they turned tyrannical. It was in case somebody came in to try to stop them, they would call upon people like they did for the Revolutionary War to fight for them. But since then, we've created a more formalized military. So I actually don't think the Second Amendment, in terms of what it was written for, in terms of what the founding fathers wrote it for, holds any weight anymore at all, because we have a military.
So let's break that down, what you said.
Sure.
Let's say it is in case someone comes over here and we are called upon them. Let's take some superpower, let's say Russia or China, whichever one. They're going to send people over here with fully automatic weapons, military-grade gear. Whether it's good, great, or not, that's up for a different debate. They're going to have tanks. They're going to have airplanes. They're going to have explosives. They're going to have all of the stuff that we as the people are not allowed to own without either spending a lot of money, getting certain licenses, or jumping through a whole bunch of hoops, or just breaking the law completely.
Yes, that's why we have an armed military force.
Right, but our armed military force is outnumbered by a lot of the other countries, but the largest standing military in the world is the American gun owner. As far as numbers, there's over 80 million of us.
American gun owners aren't a military. They're not. This would be. You would have to operate this under the operation that all American gun owners are well trained, and they're not. I mean, just look at the amount of accidents. Look at the
generous.
I would even go less than half are well trained.
Okay, so what number would you say would be well trained?
That are well trained? I don't know. I think half is way too much, because how are we defining well trained? Because I don't think just the ability to be able to shoot your gun means you're well trained.
I'm going to say well trained in the use of the firearm is the ability to shoot your firearm safely, engage your target, and put rounds on target, and not be a danger to anything but your target.
If I can operate under that definition.
So even if we did 20% are able to do such a thing, that's still larger than the largest standing army in the world, the next three largest standing armies in the world combined.
Yeah, but they're not well trained in military tactics. So you could be good at a shot, but if you're not trained on military tactics, a smaller army will come in and wipe you out.
I have to disagree, because a lot of smaller armies or smaller combatants have won large-scale battles due to guerrilla warfare tactics and just sheer
guerrilla warfare is a
outnumbering.
tactic. Guerrilla warfare is a set of tactics. They were trained on tactics. It's not guerrilla warfare was not we're just going to go and do whatever we want. There were specific tactics that they were following. That's a military tactic, and their tactic was specific for their area and region. But if you are just I'm a gun owner who's a good shot, and you have no training in any sort of military tactics, any sort of, you don't have equipment for intel, you don't have any of this, you are going to get wiped out by a standing army or by an invading army coming in and attacking the United States.
I don't, because you always have intel whether you want to think so or not.
That's not true.
Okay, so let's say that I live in Texas, okay? If an invading army from Russia or China or wherever comes to Texas, do I not have intel based on the local area since I've lived there for the last however
No,
many
but
years?
you don't have any intel on the size of this invading army. You don't know where they're striking from. You don't know. I think too many people watch Red Dawn and think that they can fight back against an invading army, but that's a movie. Like, what we tend to see is invading armies tend to be really good at, or not really good, but invading armies tend to fight back better against civilians. Now, when they're fighting against a trained military force, they have more of an issue. But when they're fighting back against civilians, they tend to wipe them out.
I don't think they would tend to wipe them out, but it's also not just the American gun owners going to be fighting. The American gun owner is more of a supply or a, hey, I'm here to back you up to our armed military. I'm pretty sure that if someone invaded us, our military won't just stand down. Yeah,
but you're claiming that you got the citizen is not needed as an independent force. They might call on citizens, but in which case you're not going to the military with your own guns. They're supplying you with weapons, right? They might call on the citizens to join them, but the average, if you're saying that like the reason we need guns, or one of the reasons we need guns, is so that a military force that's invading can be pushed back by the average citizen, I'm just going to reject that. I don't think that's going to happen. And I don't think we have any evidence to show that would happen, right? Like our own, go ahead.
Our own government declares or has come out in ways saying that the armed American citizen is a threat to opposing forces.
I'm sure the government said that.
That Russian warship.
That doesn't mean that they're right, just because the government says it.
Right. That's something I agree with you on. But very recently, there was a Russian warship submarine, I think it was, came off the coast of Florida, and the government had to step in and tell the American citizens, stop shooting at it. Now, the intel that we got is just from the local news or Facebook or Twitter or what have you on, hey, there's a Russian warship. Someone with a phone will capture something and spread it out. And that's just how information spreads nowadays, is through the use of a cell phone. And
do you
media.
have any, because when because I like to look stuff up and fact check, and I'm showing that there are no reported instances of a Russian warship or submarine off the coast of Florida involving Americans shooting at the warship.
I want to say it was 2019 to 2020, somewhere in that area.
I showed that there was a video.
Very recently.
There was a fake video posted by Voice of America in 2018, but that was a fake video. It wasn't real.
I'd have to look it up, and apparently in oh no, that one wouldn't be it. I'd have to look it up to find you the exact date on when that happened.
But here's an instance of there was a Russian naval group, including a nuclear submarine, off the coast of Florida in June of last year, that someone on Twitter was just like, hey, Floridians, don't shoot at this thing because it's a nuclear powered submarine and you could blow us all up. But that would be an example, right? Like, what, they don't know what they're shooting at. The citizens don't know what they're shooting at. What if there are nuclear armaments on that sub and they trigger one of them? Right? This would be the facts that I'm saying. The citizens don't have this intel, whereas the American government might have this intel. That might be why they're not engaged. Not that this happened, but I'm saying if it did, this would be a reason why not to shoot at this thing. The citizens don't know any of this.
I mean, with how normal nuclear weaponry is built, detonating it with a projectile such as a bullet is so highly unlikely. You're more likely to get struck by a lottery win the lottery being struck by lightning.
It could be highly unlikely, but like, what the fuck? What if it happens? Or what if they get shot at, so they get scared, so they launch it? Like, there's a million things could go wrong when the citizens try to act like a military force.
And there's a million things that go wrong when the military acts like a military force. That's why we have war crimes.
Yeah, I don't know what war crimes have to do with the conversation we're having, though.
Well, it's like, yes, the military is better equipped than the citizen. I want to change that. I would like to see it where the citizens are just as equipped as the military.
But citizens just equipping them with equipment is dangerous, because you're not also equipping them with the same type of training, with the same type of intel, with the same type of oversight. You're not doing any of that. Just giving them blanket whatever type of guns or weapons they want is going to lead to people dying.
And there's already people dying, but most of the gun laws that we have are just prohibiting someone from bringing their gun with them already. That's why soft targets such as, school shootings happen a lot, because they're a gun-free zone and no one there has a gun.
When we actually incorrect. When we look at,
they get shot.
This is wrong. If we look at, there was a study, and I can pull up the actual, the full study for you. There was a study that analyzed every single school shooting since Columbine and found that at schools that had SROs with guns, more people died in those school shootings than school shootings that happened at areas without guns.
The last study I saw, it actually said the complete opposite. It said when there was a school that had someone there with a gun, less than 10 people died, whereas if there was someone there without a gun, or they had no opposition, then more than 10 people died every time.
No, I'm sorry. I have the actual study that shows otherwise. This is presence of armed school officials and fatal, non-fatal gunshot injuries during mass school shootings, 1980 to 2019. So it was by the time the study was published, it was every school shooting from Columbine on to the time of the published study. It was 133 total school shootings they looked at over the course of that 30-year period. And they found unequivocally that schools where weapons were, where an armed officer or somebody was present, there was higher rates of mortality than at schools where somebody who was armed was not present. I can even look at cases where we have seen where people who have guns on scene didn't mean anything. Look at Uvalde. There were 300 plus armed officers. They didn't do shit.
So my question is, why did it only look at the 133 school shootings that it did when we have had much more than that? Why didn't it look at every single school shooting that had
between
happened?
1980 and 2019, there were 100, as far as I know, there were 133 total school shootings.
I believe there's a lot more, depending on what we're classifying as a school shooting.
Well, what evidence do you have that there was more? I'm pretty sure this was like all of them, but I can look at. I can look if you'd like me to.
Yes, because I can't look anything up on my phone right now.
Okay, between 1980 and 2019. Oops. I wrote 2029. That would be wrong.
If you go with the National Center for Education Statistics, they're reporting that there have been 1,375 school shootings since 2000 to 2022. So again, what's the definition that we're agreeing on as a school shooting?
Hold on, I'm looking right now. Yeah, I'm showing between 1980 and 2019, it was about 133. At least in the way that this is classifying it. Let me. Wikipedia's 2000 to has a list of 2000, the years 2000 and up. Let me pull that up. 6, 6, 6, 5, 3, 11. I mean, Wikipedia, their list is only showing 574 since 2000.
But that's a big difference between 133.
Well, no, that's between 2000.
And that's
the amount.
21 years.
Yeah, but that's because between 2020 and 2024, those numbers have skyrocketed.
Right.
So
So
the study I'm giving
my
you is
question
only
is-
looking at 1980 to 2019.
So then there's 19 years of skyrocketed numbers.
No, there
Why are
would
we
be
only
there would
at
be
the
4.
133?
There would be 5 years of higher numbers. 2019 to now
I
would
thought
only be
you said the
5
higher
years.
numbers was. I
29
said the higher numbers started from
20
the year 2000.
No, year 2000 only had 6,
So when did the higher numbers start?
around 2020.
Around 2020. So it stopped right as the numbers started
2019
going
if you
up
want to be.
on the most school
Well,
shootings.
yeah, because the study was done in 2020. It was done in 2020. They didn't have 2020's numbers to work with.
Nobody listens to this conversation. Why don't we turn that shit off?
So my question is going to be, what does that study say now?
Well,
If
I
the-
mean, we
if the
can
study
we
was
can do.
redone to
Well, okay.
show the last 6 years.
Yeah, who knows? I don't know what it would say if it was redone, but I know that the data that we do have on hand shows that the myth of the good guy with the gun stopping a shooting is not true. It doesn't actually happen in any way that's statistically significant. Whereas what we really show is that like people who show up with guns on the scene tend to also get shot and or end up shooting somebody that's not the perpetrator.
There have been several times in recent history, in the last 5 years, where the good guy with the gun stopped the active shooter before he could rack up numbers.
Yeah, well, hold on, but it doesn't show any statistical significance. It's not statistically significant when we look at the rest of the amount of shootings that take place.
Well, I mean, it is, at least with the people that I am around, the MAGA group, it is common belief that an armed population is a polite population.
Yeah, I know they
Having
have
the
that common
firearm
belief,
to
but
protect yourself.
wait, I just want to say, I know that they have that belief, but that belief's not based in any like real world data.
But it is based in real world data. Firearms, just private firearm ownership, according to the CDC, they prevent between 500,000 and 3 million crimes each and every year. Most of the time, a shot isn't even fired. Just presenting the firearm will have the criminal say, I better not do this, and leave.
What data are you using? Because the CDC doesn't provide any numbers for the amount of crimes that gun ownership prevents. So where are you getting that data from?
The CDC and the FBI, they did a collaboration, and that is the number that they came up with.
I'm
that
double checking this.
That actually came from when I believe it was President Biden implemented a new agency to research gun violence.
So the only studies that I'm finding is here's a study by Matthew D. Moore and Carrie Ann M. Bergner that found that of 1,997 U.S. counties that they analyzed, higher firearm prevalence was associated with higher violent crime, homicide, rape, robbery, and assault rates, not lower. I'm not finding any CDC FBI study that shows the opposite.
Let's see if I can pull that up for you. So let's see. Some studies, such as those by John Lott, estimate that guns prevent up to 2.5 million crimes annually.
Who was that? What was the study?
John Lott, L-O-T-T. And the estimate differs based on if they count if the gun was used or shown or if the gun was fired. So depending on the criteria, you're going to get a different number. But even on the low end of the number, it's still saying 60,000 crimes a year are prevented from, those 60,000 would have to be when a gun is fired, I would assume. Which, if we look at how many lives are lost per year,
so I'm just looking at
we're at like 45.
I'm looking at the critiques of Lott's policies, and it looks like he's had a lot of peer review on the methodology of his study, and that he used poor methodology. I'm trying to pull up the specific study itself, but it looks like this would have been a study from 1998. So this is a very old study. And like I said, it seems that his methodology was pretty flawed. I have to read it to be 100% sure, but.
Right. Even on the lower end of scales, where they had very tight critiques for whether it would count towards it or not, you're still looking at 60,000 per year of crime
60,000. We don't have that number. Even Lott doesn't have that number accurate if his methodology is flawed. We don't have the number of crimes stopped by guns.
So it says right here, let me get you a name from it. That doesn't tell me the name of the study on that one. And even the the VPC study.
The only
Which
thing that we
is,
have, wait, really quickly, the only thing that we have is the National Crime Victimization Survey, which shows that defensive gun
Yep.
use was around 60,000 to 100,000 per year. That's all we have.
Right. So then we'll use them, even though that is the people who did that study are very anti-gun.
But this,
I'll give them the benefit of the doubt and say that they
just really quickly, the people that do the National Crime Victimization Survey is the Department of Justice. The Department of Justice
Right.
isn't like an anti-gun organization.
You've seen how they've been recently on gun laws.
They're run with what?
But still, 60,000 to 100,000 a year.
But it's not saying. But hold on, the numbers that it's quoting is not the number of crimes that are stopped, just the amount of times a defensive gun was used in a crime. It's not saying whether or not those crimes were stopped. It's only saying that a gun was used.
Okay, so then we'll change it to 60,000 to 100,000 times a firearm was used in a defensive manner.
Yeah.
That you agree with that statement?
Yes, I can agree with that statement. Yes.
Okay. If we look at the amount of lives lost every year to gun violence, which they include suicide in there, which I don't agree is gun violence, it's still only around 40,000. So at least on the lower end, 20,000 times more a year is a firearm used in a defensive manner than an offensive manner.
Is used in a defensive manner more than an offensive manner. Okay.
Because if we're, and that's me giving you the suicide in there. If we took away suicide, that number plummets down to about 20,000 a year.
If we're looking at the amount of death from gun violence minus suicide, it's about 46,728. But again, when we're looking at, you're comparing it to the times just this doesn't tell me the amount of times a gun is used offensively. It just tells me the amount of deaths from a gun offensively. We would need a different number that shows the amount of times that it's used offensively, because it can be used offensively without a death.
The NCVS has said, that a gun is used offensively 60,000 to 100,000 times per year.
No, it's saying it's used defensively. Wait. No, I agree that the National Crime Victim Survey is telling us that a gun is used defensively 100,000 to or 60,000 to 100,000 times per year. But the National Crime Victim Survey found that violent crime where a firearm is involved is 300 to 400,000 times per year. So the use of the gun offensively in crime well outpaces the use of the gun defensively in a crime. It's not even close. It's almost 4 times higher.
I would have to see that. I would have to see that secondary study.
That's not from a secondary study. That's the National Crime Victimization Survey. It's the same exact survey.
I would have to read it. I would have to read that survey to see how they got that number.
Well, I assumed you read it. They looked at the amount of times per year that a violent crime was used with a firearm.
The defensive use of a firearm.
Oh. Yes, we're talking about the. Hold on, you're breaking up a little bit. You're breaking up a little bit, Brent.
Was that better?
Nope, sounds the same.
I must be hitting a bad zone.
Yeah, you keep breaking up for us.
Is that any better?
A little bit.
All right. So with the defensive use of a firearm, I look at that as that is 60 to 100,000 lives that have been potentially saved. If I go into a gas station with a firearm and I just have it in my hand and I say, give me the money, I have committed a violent crime with a firearm. However, was that person's life risked if I never pointed the firearm at them?
Yes, their life is still risked if you are using a gun to rob them. Yes.
See, I'm going to say it's not really risked. If I walked in with a firearm in my hand, pointed at the ground, never raised it from off the ground,
Their life is still at risk. Yes.
what have I risked?
Their
I'd have
life
to
is still
disagree.
their life is still at risk, friend.
I would have to still agree. At that point, the money is at risk. Now, if I walked in, I then pointed the deadly weapon at them. Having it means I have the ability and the opportunity. However, the actual action of pointing at them means I have the intention of causing them harm. If I've never pointed it at them,
Why would
I
somebody?
have not shown intention.
Do you think that people are robbing people at gunpoint with the gun pointed down? Do you think that happens?
Now, I've seen that happen a lot, actually.
Where?
I mean, where I live at, the state I live at, I've seen 3 cases of that happening in the last 2 years.
Okay. There are how many armed robberies per year?
Right. This is 3 cases that I have personally seen about. Not researched, personally seen.
You saw 3 of the 300,000 robberies committed with a gun per year. So you can't like, that's not statistically significant data.
Right. It's 300,000 per year.
Okay, Rob, Brent, we unfortunately your connection is not fixing, so we are gonna have to end the call. If you want to try to call back at a later time when you're in an area with like different service, we can try to pick this up. But your connection is it's very hard to understand you. You keep turning into a robot.
Okay.
All right, you have a good rest of your day.
You too.
Listen, I'm not against guns. I think banning specific types of guns, I think it's fine. I think who gives a shit. But Canadian Goose, thank you for the $10 PayPal during that conversation. Thank you so much. Yeah. There's nobody else in the calling queue. MAGA is terrified today. Unwilling to call and debate this little leftist. Boo boo poo poo pants, MAGA. Boo boo poo poo pants. I don't know why anyone saying I didn't say there should be a ban on guns. That's embarrassing for you. It's not infringing on your ability to own a gun to say that there are certain types of guns you can't own. Unless you think you should be able to own a nuke. No, I don't like role play calls. Don't call in for role play calls. Those annoy me. There should be a ban on Daleks. That's crazy. We got people calling in, so they're just going through the screening process. We'll see if I do not call in to be like, I want to have a gun conversation with you. Like, we had the one gun conversation for the day, calling about one of the topics on the board. Good question. Have you ever been interested in doing voice acting work paid? Of course. I'm not a good voice actor. I would be a very bad voice actor. I don't think I'd be good at it. So, never been something that I, nah. I know my abilities. I know where my abilities lie. Gun debates are boring. No, dead ass, especially because, like, I'm not against guns. They're a little boring. If I see it over on Twitch, what happened on Twitch? What did I miss? Yeah, if there's something I gotta see. Aki, you gotta let me know in the Discord. Otherwise, I won't see it. Could I hire you to do a radio style ad read? Depends on what I'm reading the ad for. Oh, someone redeemed a birthday song? Here, I got you.
You could be a birthday baddie too. A very happy baddie birthday to you.
Bang, bang. Okay, we have our first call. We have our second call. Third call? Second? I don't remember how many people we talked to today. Next up, we have Matt. Now, Matt is a leftist Christian who says there is reason to believe Jesus performed miracles. So we're going to see what Matt's evidence is on that. Matt, if you could hear me, if you could please provide me with your age and pronouns.
Hey, Jovan. I'm Matt. I'm 23, and my pronouns are he, him.
Okay. Okay, 23, he, him. And you said there is a reason to believe in Jesus' magic. So what evidence do you have for Jesus performing miracles, Matt?
So, direct evidence-wise, as much as you can say, there's no direct evidence of something like the Big Bang, but following a logical line of reasoning here, right? We have, in Roman times, right? We're going back to thousands and thousands and thousands of years ago at this point, but we have a man who was born, 32 years of life was all that he had, right? And this kind of, I mean, I don't want to call it a cult following, I'm sure you would, but arises around this man. He goes to a colony of lepers, supposedly cures them. They begin to follow him. I mean, he
What's our evidence that any of these
followers
people he
from-
cured actually followed him or existed? We don't have any firsthand accounts from these people.
I mean,
We don't have any secondhand accounts from these people.
one second. There are many historical accounts of Jesus, both from
No contemporary
the
ones.
Roman Empire,
No, there's zero Roman Empire.
contemporary.
There first and foremost, there's zero Roman emperor writings about Jesus. The Roman Empire did not write about Jesus while he was alive.
I question that. I'll look for that. Obviously, the onus is on me to prove that. I think I have seen documentation of that.
No, there's zero contemporary writing of Jesus. Zero. None. We don't have any. Could some exist that we've not?
Just to clarify.
Uh-huh.
I know you're. Sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. Ask your clarification.
I do want to ask, I know your claim is that his miracles did not exist. Would you argue that he himself did not exist either?
I am unconvinced of his existence because of the writings that do say he exists all come from the Bible, but I'm okay with conceding that he might have been a real person. I think that there are enough secondhand accounts that he may have existed, but there's no contemporary writings of us. But yeah, I'm unconvinced based on the evidence that he did exist, but I have no problem conceding that he did.
Okay. What would be your idea as to why, the different apostles and let's say non-Roman accounts of it? Because I'll accept your claim. It's tough to find here any particular Roman accounts, and that might be a misremembering on my part. Or, honestly, I was raised Christian. People, your priests say things that probably are not true half the time. But why do you think there was an account of this man from different sources?
Well, we don't have any accounts. We don't have any accounts of Jesus written by any of the apostles. The only accounts of Jesus that we have biblically are the Gospels and the letters of Paul. Those, and none of the people who wrote those ever met him. So that's what I mean by no contemporary writings. Means that nobody who was alive at the time of Jesus, or nobody wrote about Jesus in the time that he was alive. There's no contemporary writings that exist for him.
But for, the book of Matthew, the book of Mark, the book of Luke, all those that were supposedly written contemporary to the time, or at least were accounts of people who were contemporary to Jesus.
Yeah, I don't have any reason to believe. I don't have any reason to believe that they didn't tell lies, and I would believe that most of what they wrote probably weren't true because they tell conflicting information on a lot of different things. So because Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John write conflicting information, leads me to believe that there's not much to believe in their writings.
Okay. Well, then why do you believe that the Christian movement began? Do you think that it began at a time, hundreds of years after his supposed death, or?
No, it definitely started very close to his death. Paul was 20 years post-death, but I think it was probably for a level of control. Right. Control and power, I think, are the two big ones. Yeah.
A level of control by a persecuted people within Judea. I'm confused by that. How would that?
Yes.
How would that execute a level of control among people who are not in power whatsoever at the time?
Because they knew if they could grow their movement large enough, they could gain.
By those in power.
Yeah, because they knew if they could grow their movement large enough, they could gain that power.
What do you think? What the gap between the Roman Empire, A, stopping the persecution of Christians, and B, adopting Christianity as
Matt, I could even concede to you that, like, the gospel writers and Paul probably did believe what they were writing. I could concede that. They might have actually believed. There are plenty of people who wrote about Joseph Smith who believed what the bullshit Joseph Smith was peddling. Right? It doesn't mean that, like, without some sort of if we're looking at the Bible is a book of claims. The New Testament, it is a book of claims that these things happened without any, I won't say the word because everybody's mad at me that I don't know how to pronounce it. So without any evidence that substantiates this claim, these claims, I have no reason to believe in the mysticism. Now, if you want me to believe that a guy existed and a guy got crucified and died at the time was crucified, and Jesus was crucified because there were claims that he was king, and it was illegal in Rome to claim to be a king over Julius Caesar. That's fine because that's all plausible things. But men rising from the dead is not plausible. Men healing lepers through space magic is not plausible. Men walking on water is not plausible. Now, I do think there could have been things that happened that they equated to, miracles because they didn't have an understanding. Like, I'm sure there could have been somebody who was not fully blind who, like, we know that through the power of suggestion, our brains can do some crazy shit, who, like, was able to see, and the claim was Jesus healed me, but we don't know if he could still see a week later. We don't know any of these things. Like, we have to take this is what faith is. You have to just believe what the Bible is telling you. And as an atheist and a skeptic, I see no reason to believe this without some sort of evidence that exists outside of the Bible. And nobody outside of the Bible wrote about Jesus performing miracles. Even Josephus didn't outwardly claim Jesus performed miracles. He just said there was a dude named Jesus that people were worshiping, and that dude is said to have done some really cool shit. He never claims any miracles happened.
Well, documentation-wise, what do we have of other events? And this is something I'm not 100% sure of, so I'm gonna rely on you on this, and I'm assuming that you've done your research here because you've debated this. I watch your debates pretty regularly. I think you've been doing it for 2 or 3 years at this point, at least. And this is a pretty common claim of yours. Contemporary to the time, right? Do we have a ton of documentation regarding other events that were happening?
Yes.
From the Roman Empire, which would be probably the main. What would one of those events be?
I mean, Julius Caesar had dozens of contemporary people that wrote about him while he was alive, both his enemies and his Caesar, followers.
That's true, but Caesar was also the emperor of the capital region of the empire, whereas Judea was, thousands of miles away.
But if Jesus was doing, the things that they claim he did, people should have written about it while it was happening. You would assume somebody would be writing about these magnificent things happening while they were happening. It's not like there weren't Jewish. It's not like there weren't Jewish historians at the time. Again, Josephus was a Jewish historian who existed at the exact same time as Jesus was supposed to have existed. He never met him, or maybe not same time. I think Josephus was a little bit later, but still.
I see your point there, but I do think that there was very different levels of documentation regarding things happening at the heart of the empire.
Why didn't the apostles keep records? Why didn't the apostles keep any records of Jesus Christ?
Bible, those are records.
No, but those aren't records written by the apostles. They're records written by Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, who are all anonymous authors who wrote down these things 40 plus years after Jesus' death.
Those are the apostles.
No, Matthew, Mark, Luke, Luke, and John were not apostles. No, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John were not. You got to go back and do some studying up on biblical, like Bible, not theology, but on Bible history. Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John are all anonymous. We don't have any evidence of their authors. In fact, I think it's Luke outwardly writes that he never met Jesus Christ. He's the only one who outwardly is like, never met this man. None of them write in the first person that I met Jesus personally. In the Bible, and all of them are written, the earliest of the Gospels is written 40 years after Jesus' death.
Okay. So your fundamental claim is the accounts of Christ are from completely unreliable narrators, right?
I would claim the Gospels are unreliable narrators, yes. Especially John.
I'm sorry, you broke up a little bit.
I said I would definitely claim that the Gospel authors are unreliable, especially John.
Okay. And there is no reliable narrator regarding Jesus and any account of Jesus' existence, let alone his acts of miracle. Okay.
Yeah, there because there are no contemporary writings about him, because the Roman, if he was this big important figure that Rome was hunting for, they didn't write any. They had no records of him, no records of sentencing him to death. Because of the multitude of contradictions written by the gospel authors, I have no reason to believe in any of the mysticism. If you want me to believe in his existence, I think fine, he meets the burden of proof, in my opinion, that a lot of people back then need, which is just like having a couple people write about you. Like, that's fine to believe that he might have been a real person. But it's more likely, in my opinion, that Jesus was made up to spread a religion. That to me seems more plausible than almost anything else.
So, but apex of the claim, right? If I could find a historical account of Jesus, which I'm trying to find right now, outside of, a Bible study website, which is like, that's not going to give me a reliable argument. I think we can agree on that. If I could find an account of his existence or something that would very strongly suggest his existence from something more secular, right? What would be your argument of, okay, he existed, but then why did he have this huge following if there was no miracleism? Or, I mean, I guess you said that it could just be things that we would understand now or maybe in the near future would understand, but didn't then. Would that be your apex claim there?
If so, the earliest writings of Jesus Christ that we have historically are from Paul. Paul didn't know Jesus in life. His only claim was that he saw Jesus in the desert. He never met Jesus, which is why, some people consider Paul an apostle. I think it's kind of dumb to consider him an apostle, but even if you do, you consider him like not a direct apostle. And then you have Josephus and Tacitus, who both wrote about Jesus as well after his death, right? If you're able to find some contemporary writing of Jesus, you would do what literally no one else on the planet has been able to do, in which case I'd be like, holy shit, yo, Matt probably needs a lot of money for that find archaeologically. But yeah, even if we can prove Jesus existed, it doesn't prove the mysticism. And one of the issues that I have, again, is it's the contradictions. Like, for example, there's mass contradictions in the Gospels about what happened at the resurrection. Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Mm-hmm.
No, that's fine. You said Josephus never referred to the existence of Christ, or at least said that he never met him. Which one of those is your claim there? I'm sorry.
Josephus never met Jesus. He was born he was born like 7 years after he died. So he never met Jesus personally. Right. All he does is he said that, if I'm remembering correctly, Josephus says that like Jesus existed and he's a person people were worshiping. I think. Let me pull up Josephus's writing to make sure.
I'm seeing that one of hid writings where he refers to Christ, it's saying circa AD 93. So that's less than 100 years. That's 60-ish years after Christ had died. That's not a very long time. I would think that in a less developed part of the empire where they probably had far less records of these things, right, that word of mouth would travel that this guy was around 60 years ago. I mean, even back then, there were a few people who were probably around 60 years before. Maybe not many, but a few. Based on where the Roman Empire was at technologically, medically, things like that.
Yeah, so there's two.
Why do you think you would refer to him? Do you think it's self-interested? So
there's two writings of Josephus that they attribute to the knowledge of Jesus. One is in the James passage, which has been authenticated, and people it's considered by scholars to be like almost 100% authentic when it comes to Josephus. He says the brother of Jesus who is called Christ. Okay. That's it. That's literally the only mention. It's specifically right now, when he's talking about James. He says James was the brother of Jesus who is called Christ. That's it. He just says that Jesus is called Christ. The other comes from the Testimonium, I don't know how it's pronounced, like Flavanium or something. Most scholars don't believe this is authentic writing. And this is where he says, at this time lived Jesus, a wise man, if indeed one ought to call him a man, for he was a doer of surprising works. He was the Christ. He appeared to them alive again on the third day. Most people believe this wasn't written, like most, even Christian scholars believe that this was not originally written by Josephus, but added into his work later. Even if we want to analyze this, it seems weird that when talking about Jesus in earlier writings, that he talks about Jesus so offhandedly, but then all of a sudden starts writing about Jesus very detailed. It seems weird that he would say at the first that Jesus was called Christ, and now is saying Jesus is Christ. This feels very contradictory to me in the writings. But even if this is the case, right? All Josephus is saying is that Jesus, there was this man that existed that people were claiming was the Christ, which could be true. It could be true. Again, I'm not convinced by this only, but it could be the case that there was a man named Jesus Christ who existed at that time who everybody called the Messiah. I have no issues with believing that to be the case. Is he really divine? Is he really the Messiah? Did he really do the miracles? That's where, because Josephus never claims Jesus did miracles. He claims he did great work, but great work can mean quite literally anything.
I see your point there. I am seeing now another account from a historian who is a Roman historian named Tacitus.
Yes.
And he was around about 100 years after the birth of Christ. And he claims, he says, consequently, this is in the Annals, which was covering the Roman Empire from 69 to 96. Consequently, to get rid of the report, Nero, this is about Emperor Nero and the burning of Rome. Consequently, to get rid of the report, Nero fastened guilt and inflicted the most exquisite tortures on a class hated for their abominations, called Christians by the populace. Christus, from whom the name had its origin, suffered the extreme penalty during the reign of Tiberius at the hands of one of our, I'm not even going to try to say that name.
Pontius Pilate.
And, and a most mischievous superstition thus checked. Okay. All this stuff.
Tacitus is claiming that somebody named Christus existed. He doesn't actually call Jesus by name. He says Christus existed, and that they penalized him during the reign of Tiberius and Pontius Pilate. This is a claim that I think is fine. You know, I think it's okay. It is independent of a Christian source. It comes from a separate course there. It's a hostile witness. Like, he doesn't say that he likes Jesus. So that's good. That's good evidence towards him existing. It's the earliest we have of any Roman implication that Jesus existed. Using Tacitus, I have no issue with claiming Jesus was real. But again, feel free to call back.
All right. Have a great day, Jovan.
You too. I hear there was an internet issue. Are you guys back? Refresh. I should be back. Hey, you guys missed it. What I thought was a really good conversation. You guys want to stop that from happening? You want that not to happen anymore? Consider tipping so I can move my stuff. I could move my desk tomorrow. Consider tipping, and we won't have that issue no more. Shit, dude, if somebody tips me the price of the U-Haul, I'll go rent the U-Haul right now and start packing up. Wait, I can't do that. I have to do something later. I see YouTube is still going. Twitch is having some issues. Hey, shout out to Amanda. Thank you for the Venmo. You guys, am I back now? Have I returned from the land of the dead? And by land of the dead, I mean Damn, stream is struggling. Stream is struggling so hard. Chris, thank you so much for the Venmo, and Taylor, thank you for the Venmo. Shit, maybe I should just try to go rent the U-Haul. Oh no, and start packing up after my stream tonight. Are we back? I'm trying, guys. My new internet gets set up at my new place tomorrow. So that's why I'm saying, if you guys want this issue fixed, I will after the weekly dump tonight pack up my entire desk, get it set up at my new place so that I can stream for you. Like, I'll rent a U-Haul tonight. Otherwise, you gotta wait. Sorry, otherwise you just gotta wait and pray. And hope. Shannon Anonymously, thank you for resubscribing with your Amazon Prime. Thank you so much. Bree Dragenus, thank you for the 5 bits. Hopefully it stays working. I am moving. I'm moving to a place with better internet. Gang, gang. Why aren't those super chats showing up for me? What's going on? Well. We got hopium. How much you need to make it happen? Let me see. How much is a U-Haul if I want to go rent it, like on my break? Let me go see. I'd probably just end stream early and just go rent the U-Haul. I wouldn't have a bed. I wouldn't move my bed or anything. I'd probably just work at the new place and then travel back and forth. So if I want to get a U-Haul tomorrow, or today, if I want to get it today, I need to get the desk moved is the problem. I mean, I guess I could try to get my bed moved out there today. I always sleep on the couch. Stream the U-Haul experience. I could be streaming my home most of my move. But I'm sending well wishes, thank you. Listen, y'all don't have to. This is just, I know some people are like, damn, we want Jovan to be streaming sooner. So I say I need U-Haul for like 2 days. So that would give me today, tomorrow. And I wanted to pick it up at, like, let's say 3. So 3 today, tomorrow, and then 3 today to Wednesday. I could get my bed in by Wednesday. Let's see. And then I do always get the insurance. I don't give a fuck. I don't trust. Yeah, my mom and my grandmother are both moving in. I'm going to keep paying for them to live with me. Why not? Like, I have the money. Why not let my parents, you know, survive? Joe vlog. Do you guys want a moving vlog? Then again, I don't really need well, yeah, because I need to get this and then these, yeah. So we're probably looking at like 150 to 200 because of the mileage. Oh, true. I wouldn't want to dox myself, so I wouldn't stream the move, but I would film it and then cut out any doxing information. So Jovan on the road again. That's so funny. But I'm not worried about it. I'm not worried about it. It's just you guys will have a little bit of time where there's no like streams. Cause I'll be moving, you know? Or it's just like I have to figure out when I could get all my stuff over to the new place. Not a big deal. We'll figure it out later. Don't worry about it. Find more stuff to auction? No, I don't got really much of anything else. How long have we been streaming today? Almost 2 hours? Is it far that you have to move? No, it's only like 15 minutes, but I have to make multiple trips, you know? Because if I have the U-Haul, I would want to try to at least get the stuff I need to, like, you know, my bedroom, my... I see a bunch of pussies in the YouTube chat who are talking shit but not calling in, so I'm not going to address them. If you're too scared to pick up the phone, fucking eat dick. I don't know what to tell you. Not mine, because you're not worthy of it. That's a future Jovan problem. No, literally. Auction and autograph. Wait, I got it. Hold on. Who wants 2 signed disc plates that I'm not going to use anymore? I could sign both of these. One says friendly neighborhood socialist. The other says get in loser. We're seizing the means of production. I don't know how much it would be to ship these though. Amelia, thank you so much for the Cash App. Vel, thank you so much for the Cash App as well. Vel, I should be emailing you back tonight about getting you sent out the headphones. I just need an address. Will you hand deliver it to Canada for me? I don't know. I might go visit Jimmy sometime this like early next year. So come to Texas and visit. Name a price? I don't know. I don't know what to give these for. This one's kind of busted. Not busted, but it's bent. So you'd have to get it unbent. Like you'd have to unbend it. And you'd have to buy the magnets to hold it up. I don't have the magnets anymore. But these are nice, right? Maybe I do want to keep these. You guys are making me want to keep these. The way all of you guys are talking right now makes me kind of want to keep them. Hang them up in my new office. Haley, thank you for the Venmo. Thank you so much, friend. Hello, Jovan. Do you know who I am? No. Should I? No idea. I kind of want him now. I gotta want them now. They would look good hanging back up in my new office. Are you and Jimmy besties? No, I hate him. Look me up. No, I'm not gonna do that. No. But they're nice. Now I want them. Now that I'm looking at them, they would look good in my new office space. Right above my shelves. I'm gonna get new shelves eventually. We need a Jovan and Forrest stream. Let me text him and ask him when he wants to stream next. Did I not save his number like an asshole? I do that. A lot of people's numbers I don't have saved in my phone. When is the last time I texted Forrest? Oh, here it is. Wait, can I just buy the disc plates again? Are these ones still on display? Because I can always just literally rebuy them. I kind of want them. Spectrum, yo, deadass. Spectrum really said, oh, you want to leave us? Here's a fucked up stream before you go. Crazy. Yo, Haley Williams, thank you for becoming a member on tier 2, 5 months. Send some movie funds. Hope it helps smoothly. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. Yes, I did get that, and I shouted you out when I got it. The only person who texts me is Jimmy. That's so funny. I like operating under the joke that Jimmy thinks I'm more of a friend to him than I actually am. I think it's funny. I think it makes me laugh. Someone said the Haley Williams. I doubt it's that Haley Williams. Let me see. Oh no, I don't see these ones. Okay, the one is there, but I don't see Friendly Neighborhood Socialist anymore. Jesus Was a Socialist is a good one. Fully Automated Luxury Gay Space Communist. Tax the Rich. LeBron. Che Guevara. I might just get more. The Friendly Neighborhood Socialist one is not, I don't see that anymore on display. Yo, here's one of Mark's that says told you so. That's funny. Oh, nope, there it is right there. I mean, how much do you guys want? How much are you how much are you willing? What's the top? Ayla, thank you so much for the super chat, friend. Thank you so much. What's your offer? If anybody could tell me what that's from, I'll give you a Fucking high five. $60? That's less than I paid for it. Just FYI, I paid $100 for both of these. $100 each, plus shipping. Hey, somebody got it. Courage, yeah. Return the slab. What's your offer? Grown man with cat ears. I don't give a fuck, dog. Vel, thank you for a tier 4 member over on YouTube. How much is it on display? And 3 times because it's signed. 3 times, it's $99 on display if you want to get this size. Ugh. It's $99 if you want this size display. If you want a smaller one, it's cheaper. Displays are pretty expensive, but they're nice. I've just been too lazy to rebuy the magnets. I've been wanting to rehang these up. I also have these Star Wars ones I need to hang back up. These as well. These are a bit smaller, but I also need to hang these back up as well. This one's so nice. Oh my God. I just haven't hung them back up yet. I need to rebuy the magnets. This Monday, we're not doing discussions on the dump, but it should be back next Monday. Democrats are not welcome here? Yo, low-key. Don't offer your IUD, you need that. Have you seen Black Clover? Yeah, I'm not a big fan of it. Just felt like Magic Naruto. I'm not selling anything, but if somebody wanted to donate, you know. It's just about if I want to get to you, man. If I want to get it now, man. There's just, oh man, it would be, I mean, it wouldn't be a pain in the ass to move the desk and everything. Oh, resetting this computer and all my monitors and everything back up. That will be the pain in the ass. Truthfully, that'd be the most annoying part. I also have to decide which room I want to make my office. There's a study. So I got a house that's like a split. So it has like an in-law suite and then a main suite. The in-law suite would be my mom and grandmother's, and I'd have the main part of the house. And the main part of the house has 3 bedrooms and a study. 1 bedroom is for my kid. Another bedroom is probably going to be a playroom for my kid, and then the study might be my office, might be how I set it up. Or I make that 3rd bedroom a guest bedroom. I don't know what I'm doing yet. But it's like cheaper than what I pay now to be in that bigger place. Well, almost cheaper. It's like $200 more for like double the space. Yeah, at some point I'm gonna get like a Secret Labs desk, and I'm going to. That's actually what I would have gotten if I hadn't gotten this place. Look, I would have loved to have stayed in the place I'm at. I really do like the place I'm at, but like I can't keep dealing with Spectrum, bro. Not when I have to work, you know? Like I would have loved to have stayed here. But Spectrum literally fucks me over internet-wise. You saw it. You guys literally here when it happened. How much better is the internet, did you say? I'm going from, so we're looking at upload, because when you're streaming, it's your upload speed. My current upload speed is 40 megs. My new upload speed is 5 gigs. Just saying it makes me want to cry. Just saying it makes me want to cry. Yo, wouldn't it be crazy though if I moved and I still had those internet issues and we learned it was just my computer? Wouldn't that be crazy? It's not, because I've already tested my computer. Wouldn't that be some shit? It's still Florida. Yeah, but at least when you're near Orlando, Florida's a little better. Ren, thank you so much for the Cash App. Ren, thank you so much, friend. Yeah, I can't wait to have fiber, dude. I can't wait to have fiber. Oh my God. That was the big, so there was a few things that I looked at when I was getting a new place, right? One, had to have fiber internet. Two, it needs to be one level because my grandmother can't do stairs. And three, there needed to be enough space for all the people that live in my house. So. And the only thing, literally the only thing, if this place hadn't been like, yeah, you need to pay all of this in order to move in, it would have been a non-issue. I'd have been like, yeah, this is fine. But I just didn't have it at the moment. I was like, Jesus Christ, you want fucking two? I know my credit shit, but goddamn. Zeus, thank you so much for the Cash App, Zeus. Thank you. It's so very appreciated, friend. But my plan is like to have a bunch of days where I stream in the morning, then I take a little break, and I stream at night. And I might stream late. Y'all don't realize how often I'm awake until like 2 a.m. Like I would love to be streaming during that time. The fuck? You'll get more streams. You'll get more types of streams because I won't feel so bad. If I can do an entire debate stream, then I don't feel so bad in the evening doing like a gaming or a react stream. If I can do like my morning streams, I can do office hours. I feel if I have an office that I separate of my bedroom, I won't feel as fucking stir crazy that I'm sitting in the same room all day. I don't live in a rural area. That's what's crazy. There's just no fucking, it's a whole thing. We've been dealing with these internet issues for over a year. Yeah, I do more gaming streams. I do more react streams. I can actually bring back movie nights in the Discord because like my internet could handle me streaming a movie at the middle of the night. So we could bring movie nights back. Like there's so much we can do again once I have good internet. How much is that? 5 gigs a month? I think it's like $80, 80, 90 bucks. I might actually call them and be like, do you have a bigger plan for businesses? Because I'm moving to a house. I don't think I can do condos because I get loud as shit. I don't think anybody wants to hear me being like, fuck you, you dirty maggot. Eat my ass. Okay, should I get this U-Haul? So what are we saying? I'm gonna pick this U-Haul up at 3 p.m. It gives me only 1 more hour. Yeah, okay. I wonder if I can get my bed taken apart and put into it, because I can just sleep on the couch tonight. I wonder if I can get my bed apart and put into the U-Haul tomorrow. Because here's what's nice. So my lease currently is up in January. So what I said to do was I'm going to pay my final month at this place. I'm going to then... Oh, shit. Someone grabbed it. Someone grabbed the U-Haul I wanted. That means I have to grab a big one. I was hoping to just get the van. So I rented, I have a month left to pay here. And then I'm going to, I'm still have a month left here. And I started my other lease already. So that gives me a month to fully move all my stuff over. And a month to fully clean and get this place ready so I get my security deposit back. Which is a blessing that I have the ability to do that. All right, we got somebody calling in, so I guess we can pull up another debate. I'm going to quickly see if I can't still get a U-Haul, though. Because what the fuck? Okay, let me go back. Try to get another U-Haul today. Not available. Alternative equipment available and closest. Okay, if you're available, let me get you. Hold on, we're just going to do this first. Do this U-Haul first. But yeah, it also gives me more time to move my mother and grandmother over. It gives me more time to cancel all my stuff. It gives me peace of mind on that. You have to click no on so much shit on U-Haul. It's like, are you sure you don't want all this moving help? No, I don't. Fuck you. I'm a survivor. I'm not going to give up. I'm not going to stop. We going to work harder. Okay. Schedule pickup today at 3. Oh, that's because it's set as a 4-hour rental. No. Oh, it's not available for the amount of time I need it for. That's what it is. Shit, U-Haul. Okay, I guess I got to get a bigger... Okay. Oh, hold on. Oh, what? Where's the... Homie, you better give me... Three... I mean, do I need it for 2 days? Would I even need it for 2 days? If I'm just bringing my desk and my desk stuff, and I still just sleep here, but while I'm slowly moving stuff over, I work over there and I just sleep here. And I move everything, all the big stuff later. It's just the desk. I wonder if I could get if it's just the desk, I could do just a regular pickup truck. Right? Because it's just the desk I need. I don't need anything else. I'm not driving all the way there to pick up a fucking pickup truck. Bish way? Let me take the call and then we'll figure this out. I'll figure this out after the calls, after stream. Next up, coming on the stream, we have Ben. Ben said there is reason to believe in MAGA, and he thinks MAGA supports better technological progress. So I guess we'll find out why Ben believes this. Ben, if you could please provide me your age and pronouns.
Hey, I'm he, him. My age is 26.
Okay.
I really appreciate you having me on. Thank you.
Now, Ben, are you yourself a MAGA?
Yeah, well, we're forced to choose in a binary system between Democrat and MAGA, so I chose the MAGA side. But as flawed as they are, I still believe that they are better than the Democrats.
Better at what specifically?
So their policies in the long run will be more beneficial when it comes to raising standard of living and overall wealth in the country. And, technological progress, which is eventually, I believe, is the goal, because ultimately better systems and better technologies will give people better lives.
In what way has MAGA progressed technology more efficiently than the Democrats have?
All right. So in order for technology to progress, historically, you need economic stability. And I look at the greatest threat right now to our economic stability would be the spending deficit, the amount of debt growing. And I can already see you telling me that, oh, what do you mean Trump has a huge deficit right now? Which he does. But I viewed the possible bankruptcy of this country in regards to either defaulting under debt or defaulting through inflation can be the greatest threat to our progress as a civilization, because by then we'll lose the status, the world reserve currency, and we'll be facing a lot of economic collapse. And that is my primary concern. And the difference between MAGA and the Democrats is at least MAGA somewhat pretends to care about this issue. And it's,
so I'm just confused. I'm confused.
Democrats.
Trump has led to inflationary spending when it comes to groceries, electricity, all these other things. Trump is increasing the deficit, and his plans have been marked that they're going to increase it more than Harris's would have. In what area is MAGA actually better at this than like the Democrats would have been?
What do you mean by increasing debt spending? From what I understand, he's just continuing the spending from Biden.
Nope, the big beautiful bill. Wait. He literally passed a spending. They literally passed a spending bill. We know what our deficit is going to be through his spending bill, which is, if you look at the big beautiful bill, it's adding to the deficit because it's removing tax revenue and it's increasing spending in a bunch of areas. Well,
when you say losing tax revenue, you're just continuing on the tax cuts that were approved back in 2016.
No, he's increasing them. Year,
it's going to be that.
No, he's
2018, I should say.
No, he's increased them.
Increase them. I mean, You're talking about the no taxes on tips, I would assume then.
No, he's increased taxes. He's decreased. I'm sorry, he's decreased taxes from what even the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act did.
Which part of it decreased it? I'm probably missing that.
Here, let me pull it up for you right now. I'll pull you up the specifics.
I'm kind of with you on that. I think right now the biggest thing we should be concentrating on is cutting spending and increasing taxes. With that,
we should be cutting spending and increasing taxes.
Yes.
Donald Trump's not doing that.
I'm a fan of a wealth tax, and I'm a fan of things like means testing Social Security, which wouldn't hurt people that actually need Social Security. But I get that they paid into the system, but we have to. I worked in finance for a couple of years, and I just see this country heading for financial suicide, and that's just something I'm very worried about. I think we need to take action for it. We're already.
I guess that's why I'm confused, Ben, because Trump is doing everything opposite to what you want him to be doing.
Yes, but he, as I said before, he pretends, at least Republicans pretend to care about this issue, and they are slightly more effective at handling this issue than Democrats and Biden was. Because, at a time when we had runaway inflation under Biden, like he wouldn't even do the Keynesian thing, which was cut spending. Now he let some of the spending, to his credit, he let expire from the COVID peak. But
Biden's actions through the American Rescue Plan got us out of COVID era inflation faster than any other country in the G7. We broke through it. We broke free
Well,
of
that was just
the.
letting the restrictions the government put in place expire. It got the
No,
economy,
no,
the
no. It was
lockdowns.
no.
And
It was the entirety of the.
part of the reason we got out there earlier is because as the world's reserve currency, we could get away with printing more money, which is one of the issues I'm getting to. We're allowed to print a lot more money with a lot less consequences, and what she did to Jerome Powell's credit. But at the same time, that had the side effect of creating this runaway inflation problem.
Biden, wait. Biden did not create inflation. Inflation was quite literally from COVID.
Biden and
It was
Trump
worldwide. But I wouldn't even claim Trump created the inflationary issues that we faced from COVID. There was supply chain issues were like the biggest inflationary cause to COVID from COVID.
Yeah, but it was record fiscal spending along with expanding the money supply really fast. Which was a response to COVID.
Record fiscal spending. Trump spent more in his first term than Biden did.
That makes sense when you think about the COVID spending in the beginning.
And Trump had bigger deficit spending than Biden did.
Yeah, because you can't hold that one against Trump because that was like the darkest COVID days. No,
but even if we look at non-COVID spending, Trump still increased the deficit more than Biden did.
To $5 trillion. It was about $1 trillion before COVID, almost approaching $1 trillion. Under Biden, it was approaching $2 trillion.
No, non-COVID spending Trump was 4.8 trillion. Non-COVID spending for Biden was 2.2. COVID spending for Trump was 3.6. COVID was 2.1.
I'm talking about total government spending here, not the.
Yeah, if you want to go total government spending, if you want to go total spending in their terms, Trump was 8.4 trillion. Biden was 4.3 trillion.
I'm talking about before COVID. Before COVID, Trump spending up until then, the deficit was approaching about $1 trillion.
Up until Trump,
the end of his term,
the debt added. No, Trump added 4.8 trillion to the debt. Before COVID. That was non-COVID spending he added to the debt.
How is that possible if he was only in power for a couple of years and the deficit was less than $1 trillion?
Because he cut revenue.
Can you double check? That doesn't sound. I'm just running the math in my head. The deficit was just approaching $1 trillion towards right before COVID. She was only in power for a couple of years. We'd have to be running if you had $4.8 trillion in debt.
Oh no! I see what the issue. I see where your issue is. When we're counting the amount of debt they're adding, you're counting it. We count it on like a 10-year span. So it was approved money, and so it's adding. So I apologize. Non-COVID spending, he's adding 4.8 trillion to the debt. Non-COVID spending for Biden, they're adding 2.2 trillion to the debt. My apologies.
Yeah.
And that's over the course of 10 years via their plans.
Yeah, in order to get like a free market plan to work, part of the problem Republicans have, they're very good at cutting taxes, but they won't cut the spending to finance that. Now, yes, theoretically, some growth can come from that, and you could tax that growth, I guess, but it's shown historically to be a bad deal.
But again, I'm just confused here because if it's about spending and it's about the debt, it's very clear that every time we look at this. Every time we look at the debt and every time we look at spending, Trump and his economy, Trump and his policies make the economy worse.
Well, you're also not taking into account from the big beautiful bill is the tariff revenue to offset some of those tax decreases.
I don't believe the tariff revenue is. First of all, tariff revenue is not going to offset anything if he gives everybody $2,000 checks. There goes all the tariff revenue.
Yeah, I hope he doesn't do that.
But the tariff revenue, revenue.
Like I'd rather $2,000 less national debt per person than $2,000 checks.
I'm fairly certain Trump's tariff revenue isn't even going to outpace his spending.
It's definitely not going to outpace spending, but it is going to cover all his tax breaks that he did in the big beautiful bill. I believe it's $400 to $600 billion a year worth of tariff revenue in the big beautiful bill. In addition, I believe that, what is it? It was 4.5 trillion in added debt. So I mean, the math adds up.
So this
So
year,
400 billion over 10
during
years must be 5
fiscal year
trillion.
2025, we're only looking at about 200 billion received in tariffs.
I believe the estimate was 400 to 600 billion. I know Scott Benson
No,
over exaggerated it. He said it was
That estimate
800.
is incorrect. We're looking at about 215 at the high end.
Yeah, but that's ever since the tariff started to right now. I'm talking about for the whole year. That's only
Yes.
covers about 6 months or 7 months of tariff revenue.
Yes, this is the
So
projected. This is the fiscal
It's
year
definitely lowering
2025.
standard of living. Tariff. Yep. Sorry.
I'm saying this is what fiscal year 2025 is looking at for tariff revenue. So from October, from God, I think it's October to October is the fiscal year, if I'm not wrong, could be wrong. But yeah, fiscal year 2025, we're only looking at a total. I mean, as of October, the total tariffs collected was only 195 billion as of October. So I don't think we're hitting 400
That's
billion.
starting from the tariff, like Liberation Day until October, that was 200 billion.
Yeah, no,
think,
this is
right?
this is looking at the entirety of just 2025 to October.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, I mean, I guess that's that would have to be Liberation Day till October because
Yeah,
that's really when the tariffs hit.
fiscal year 2025 is October to September. So listen, even if this is the case, I don't think Trump's I don't think his tariff policies are going to be able to compensate. Like if tariff revenue is the big beautiful bill is going to raise the deficit by about 3.4 trillion is the estimates. Even if he's pulling in 400 billion from the tariffs, that's not going to stop that deficit.
Yeah, so in regards to the deficit, 100%, it won't stop it. Slow it, maybe. But in regards to the big beautiful bill, you mentioned 3.6 trillion over 10 years, so it's about 360 billion a year. So 400 billion should offset that. However, he definitely does need to. I hope he does. Probably unlikely. He definitely needs to take action regarding the deficit. Now, when I started this call, I pointed out that listen, I don't think MAGA's that great, but I think they're better than the Democrats because I don't think Biden. Obama worked with Boehner, so he got some good stuff passed. I'll give Obama credit. But the Democrats are saying nothing about cutting spending. They're not even doing Keynesian theory anymore, which is deficit spend in a bad economy, but then surplus in a good economy. Biden didn't really do that.
Yeah, my response to that would be that if I'm looking at Democrat spending, right, what I'm going to see is that the Democrats want to increase revenue in order to cover the spending. Trump wants to decrease revenue and increase spending, which is the opposite of what you should be doing.
Problem is Democrats increase spending faster. The problem with increasing revenue is we're already taxing about 35% of GDP if you take into account local, federal, state, and inflation taxes. So I think the problem with Democrats raising taxes too much is it'll lead to diminishing returns. You won't have the economic growth necessary to grow revenue and perhaps outgrow the debt. In regards to Trump, I don't think he should be cutting taxes at all, but we should be. Maybe we should be putting more taxes on the rich and lessening the burden in the middle class. And like I mentioned before, I'm in favor of a wealth tax as long as you're decreasing income tax. But I don't think we should be taxing more than 35% of GDP. That's my concern. That's where I also disagree with Democrats at.
Yeah, I would just say it seems like your reason to say people should be MAGA just doesn't seem to fall in with what MAGA is actually doing. It seems like you have more of a reason not to be MAGA.
Yeah, I'm making the argument that they're better. They're not. They're far cry from perfect, but they're better than Democrats. The Democrats will increase taxes anymore without and increase spending at the same time. So that destroys your prospects of balancing the budget and your prospects of growth. But at least MAGA, while they're not balancing the budget, at least they're not stifling the growth, which we're doomed in both ways in the long term, but a bit slower with MAGA than the Democrats.
Yeah, I just don't think the data supports that, like, at all.
I'm sorry, which data you mean?
I don't think any of the data on the way that we're spending versus the way that we're collecting revenue supports that MAGA is better at this.
All right, well, the data is Trump has done a little bit of cutting, but also, as to your credit, he should not
Trump
have been
hasn't
cutting
done
taxes either.
Trump hasn't
He
cut.
did cut like 12.
Trump has not cut spending. He's increased spending.
He's increased spending slower than the Democrats. And he did cut a little bit.
He didn't.
Like, I believe there was like a $12 billion thing that he cut. I believe that was the NPR and maybe just a little bit of foreign aid. And
You think the NPR was $12 trillion?
no, it was NPR, I believe, and UNESCO. It was that.
That was not
package of his
that was
credit,
not
which he did
$12
that.
trillion.
It was 12 billion if it be.
Yeah,
They
12
did
billion
cut
is
that.
12 billion
Obviously,
is
it's only
nothing.
tiny compared to what we have to
12
accomplish.
billion is literally nothing. It's a drop in the hat.
Yes. So my point is, he would be I believe Harris would be spending a lot more than Trump would be right now.
Based on what?
And I'm saying that it's based off of Biden's spending, especially when COVID ended.
Trump
He
spent
was running
more
at
than
1.6,
Biden.
1.7
Trump spent
billion
more than
dollars.
Biden. He spent
Yeah, but
more.
You're also including COVID in that spending. If it wasn't for
No, I'm
COVID,
not.
Trump would've spent
No,
less than Biden.
even outside of COVID, Trump spent more.
Outside of COVID, Trump spent more.
Yes, we went over this. Non-COVID spending, Trump increased Trump's raised the deficit more with non-COVID spending than Biden did with non-COVID spending.
Mm-hmm. I'm curious to see that one actually. I'd be interested. About so when you're including non-COVID spending, does it also include like the unemployment safety net stuff? Because I could argue that that's also COVID spending because not that so many people would have been unemployed and not so many people would be on Medicaid or the Affordable Care Act.
We can see exactly which of their for Trump, right? The Tax Cuts and Jobs Act added 1.9 trillion to the debt. That's the impact of that between that's the 10-year impact that bill adds to the debt. The Budget Acts 2018 and 2019 added 2.1 trillion to the debt in the 10-year total. The ACA delays and repeals 539 billion.
The Budget Act.
Health executive actions 456. CARES Act was 1.9 trillion. Response and Relief Act was 983 billion. But that's COVID spending, right? So if we're looking outside of COVID spending, again, that's where we get to the 4.8 number. Biden's not even close to this. Biden's not even close to this. He's half to this. Biden's at 2.2.
And so the 4.8, you're including the so the tax cuts. I get that's how Trump increased it. But what other spending did he increase exactly? Was he just continuing on like Obama's spending at the normal trajectory?
No, but we can even look at the bills that decrease spending. Trump only had one thing that like decreased spending. That was the tariffs, right? Tariffs were the only like net that added. But with Biden, I don't see that 12 billion one anywhere. It might be a part of one of these other legislations, but with Biden, the Fiscal Responsibility Act decreased the budget 1.5 trillion. The Inflation Reduction Act was 252 billion, and the deficit reducing. He had a bunch of deficit like executive orders that reduced it 129 billion. So like even if we're just looking at the way they decreased, Biden did more. So I'm just confused.
Bills,
what
I just mentioned. Correct me if I'm remembering correct. Those bills that Biden passed. We end up spending more after those bills, as you just mentioned before.
No, some bills cause us to spend more, some bills don't.
Gotcha. Can you repeat those again?
Yeah, sure. Give me 1 second. Cool. With Trump, the only thing that increased revenue in Trump's term was the tariffs in his first term. That's the only thing, and that increased revenue $443 billion over a 10-year period. Biden
first term.
Yes, that's his first term tariff revenue. Biden revenue increased via the Fiscal Responsibility Act and the Inflation Reduction Act. All increased revenue.
The inflation.
Or let me rephrase:
Act,
not increase revenue, but it decreased the debt.
But from my understanding, they end up spending more from the Inflation Reduction Act.
No, the Inflation Reduction Act.
Act
Ended up being a net positive on the debt, $252 billion.
Mm-hmm. So I remember after those bills were passed, the deficit went up those years. I'd have to look into that.
Well, because those weren't the only bills passed that year. Right. There are still going to be other bills that increase it, but I'm saying those bills specifically are what would have led to losing some of the money off the debt, as opposed to Trump, who only took off. So in total, Trump only took off $443 billion from the debt. Biden took off almost $2 trillion from the debt. Now that doesn't compensate for his debt spending, but I'm saying that's where we get into a deficit. This is why Trump had a bigger deficit. Trump had an $8.4 trillion deficit spending, whereas Biden's was $4.3 trillion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, look, I just pulled up the data right now. So from 2022, so after the COVID spending ended, it was about 2.7 trillion. This was 2021, Biden's first year. So I do give him credit. It went down from 2.7 trillion to 1.36 trillion in 2022. That started to tick up, went from 1.3 trillion to when he left office to about 1.8 trillion. So it's almost a $500 billion pickup. For Trump right now, I believe we're looking at either similar 1.8 trillion, but I've heard estimates as low as 1.6 trillion for this year. So it's now beginning to trend downwards for it right now. So I will. You have to give Trump credit for that, at least. Even from all his increases and decreases of spending, overall, it has gone down this past year. I just pulled up the data now. Because Biden was trending upwards, now it's trending downwards again.
Oh, I was muted. I'm sorry. Are you saying the debt is trending downward right now?
Deficit.
The deficit.
Yeah. I'm sure there's like a lot, I believe, that even we can agree on moving forward right now. I'm sure like you would agree with me on wealth taxes. I'm sure you would.
Hold on. I just want to be. Our debt decreased by $41 billion. That's it. Within comparative to last year. Last year there was a national deficit. The national deficit decreased by about $41 billion. I will be surprised to see. I mean, that is going to change vehemently once the implementations from the big beautiful bill go through. The bill hasn't gone that bill hasn't a bunch of that stuff hasn't started yet. And we haven't done tax time for the stuff that has started yet. So yeah, I think we're going to see a big shift in that as soon as that bill takes effect.
Yeah, I mean, also on a positive note, I guess short-term debt, because to bring down the interest rates, you just have to account for. I'm talking about like the notes that expire within a year. That could bring down the debt to another couple, maybe 100 to 200 billion.
I just don't see that happening, but yeah. That being said, though, Ben, we have been talking for 25 minutes, so I do want to bring up. I do want to move on to the next person. So yeah,
it's up to you. If there's another person, I could talk much longer if you want, but it's their show. I'll let you decide if you want to continue talking to me.
Yeah, I'm just gonna bring up the Next person on the stream.
All right, that's fair. I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Yep, no problem. Yeah, I think it's pretty clear that the debt is getting worse. Crazy. All right, this is our last call, and then that's going to be it for stream today. Next up is Zach. Zach thinks that socialism is bad for the country. So let's see how Zach can substantiate that. Zach, could you provide me with your age and pronouns, please?
I'm 41, and my pronouns are he, him.
Okay, Zach, you believe socialism would be bad for the country and the economy. Why do you believe this?
Before we start, I just want to say congrats on the move. And as a person in the telecommunications industry, hope your internet is better.
Yeah, hope so too.
Socialism will bring authoritarian rule to the country, which is
Why do you believe that it will do that?
that's how socialism is based off previous attempts of socialism.
Sorry, which socialist state brought about authoritarianism?
I say Venezuela is one of them.
Huh?
Venezuela.
Venezuela's not socialist.
Communist, but pretty much
I
the same.
wouldn't even call Venezuela communist at this point.
What do you call them?
I'd say they're pretty staunchly moving capitalist right now.
Okay. Why do you think socialism is good?
Because socialism leads to a more equitable system in which wealth is not extracted from the working class and given to the owner class.
Do you think we should have billionaires?
No.
No.
No, because that's wealth extraction, which I'm against.
Okay. Do you believe if someone makes $1 billion, any amount of money above it should be taken away from them?
I don't think somebody should even get close to $1 billion.
What do you think a good number is for amount of money somebody should have?
How much wealth is there in the globe?
So, as let's say somebody makes $3 million a year, let's say anything above that will be redistributed. That number will go down at one point as prior history. Then it's going to be $2 million per year, then $1 million per year.
I don't even think I probably would say a
have a
person
lot.
shouldn't make $1 million per year either. Yeah.
$1 million is not a lot.
$1 million is a lot per year. Anybody who says it's not a lot is on smoke is on. I wish I could smoke. $1 million is a fucking fuck ton of money.
It's not really. But,
Yes, really.
Why? How?
How is $1 million a lot of money?
Yeah, per year.
What's the average home cost in the United States?
400,000, roughly. Haven't
So-
home searching yet.
Okay, so the average home cost in the U.S. is 400,000, right? Give or take. That's the average. So
Okay.
in one sitting, you could pay for an entire home and still have half of your money left over.
Got taxes on top of that, so not really.
You think how much do you think taxes would be on a $400,000 house?
You got property, so I think closing costs would be about 5%
Most
property
wait,
tax. Wow.
wait. We're talking about somebody who makes $1 million a year, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is a drop in the bucket. They pay this one time, and then they're still making $1 million a year.
Well, you also still got property taxes, which I don't believe we should have.
How much do you think property taxes per
And
year
then,
are?
2% give or take.
Okay, so that's what? Like, if we're saying it's 2%, that's $80,000.
Probably.
You make $1 million per
not
year.
That much, probably not.
That's not even 10% of your. That's not even. That's not even 10% of your money to property tax. So yeah, I think $1 million's a lot of money,
You
dude.
got home repair.
You think home
Have an
repair?
actual
You think home repair?
lifestyle.
You think home repair is going to be more or less than 10,000 per year?
Give or take, renovations be more.
By the way, I just want to let you know the average property tax on a $400,000 home in the United States is $4,800 per year.
Okay, you still got
You have
vacations,
you have $1 million,
vacations,
Zach. Zach, you have $1 million. Do you think
Yeah.
Do you think $4,000 matters when you have $1 million?
It could be, yeah.
How badly do you want to
Better
be?
have
How
you
badly do you want to be a millionaire, Zach?
I'm making $100,000 right now a year as a 21-year-old. So
Zach,
pretty
I hope you know I don't believe that.
I'm in the telecommunications, dude. I can send you my pay stubs.
I don't need to see your pay stubs. I don't know why. So you're telling me that it wouldn't be a lot of money if you increased your income by 10 times?
No. If anything, I want to be more. Yes. I work for it, so I deserve it.
Zach, you got to grow up, bro.
Right? Bro.
You got to grow up, dog.
You're funny.
You just said it wouldn't be a significant increase of money if you increased your income by 10 times.
No, it wouldn't.
That's the dumbest thing I've heard all day.
I would still spend it as a capitalist. I would still spend it on
Yes, because
capitalist things.
well, I mean, sure, if you're just admitting it wouldn't be a lot of money because you are bad with money, that's a different thing.
Well, if anything, you couldn't live off dividends. And just
You
reinvest
can't
everything.
live off of. Are you saying you couldn't live off $1 million? Are
What?
you saying you couldn't live off $1 million?
If you invest it, I'm just saying, if you get $1 million per year, you can invest it, live off the dividends of the investment, and just.
So $1 million is $1 million is a lot of money, Zach. That's what you're telling me.
Not really. Not
Okay.
really. But okay.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah. Okay. Zach, anybody who is incapable of admitting that $1 million is a big number probably is not the most intellectually honest person on the planet. So
It's not truly. It's not. You should to comfortably live. You shouldn't be making a lot more than that. We live in a capitalist society, so if you want to be comfortable, you gotta keep rising up your head.
Zach, final time, is $1 million a lot?
Mhm. No.
Okay. Goodbye. Ain't no way. Ain't no way. Sorry, I just why am I gonna talk to somebody who doesn't know that 1 million is a lot? Like, what the fuck? Okay, that's the end of our show today. We're gonna read our super chats. So stupid. Why do I feel like I should have more super chats here on my list? Did I miss some super chats? No, I didn't. No, I didn't. Okay, cool. First up from that Dan Halen said, "You've helped me so much in framing my ethical framework as a lapsed Catholic around my upbringing in a secular framework. Thank you." Oh, well, you're welcome. Thank you. Thank you. From Vampy said, "Only one dump a week, backed up and slow internet movements. Add more fiber to your diet for regular streams." That's good. That's good, Vampy. Vampy also said 99% of gun owners don't hurt others and shouldn't be heavily regulated. Do you hold the same belief towards trans people, Brett? Ooh, who knows? Also, Vampy said this country can't even stop police from country can't even stop police from brutality and violating human rights, and you expect citizens to be trusted not to commit war crimes. Brent has far more faith in the average gun owner than me. True. Thank you, Olivia May Julius, for the super chat. Thank you, Ayla Ursus, for the super chat. Thank you so much. From Kuhn said, I don't know. Double check to make sure all your cables can handle what you're paying for. I went for you finding out my modem had a 100 megabyte max cable. I'm pretty sure the modem that Frontier gives you has a 10 gigabyte max, but I can double check. Duty encouraged at 1 million a year isn't a lot. Dirt. And Joshua Everett said that kid probably has a $4,000 a day coke habit. Crazy. Anyway, thank you guys for being on stream today. Tomorrow, no stream. I'll be getting the new space set up. If my internet gets in by the evening, I might be able to do an evening stream from the new place. So thank you guys. I will check you guys later. Have a beautiful rest of your day. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching stream. Yeah, it's been a fun one. I'm gonna go start packing and shit and get ready for this move. So yeah, goodbye.